You can go to hell.
I hate it when Lindsay hacks our system.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Much of what you see and hear on the following program may be shocking and upsetting to you. But if you will listen calmly and with an open mind, you may discover the key to the peace of mind and joy for which you've been searching all of your life.
Right now, a historic moment. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency. The business tycoon and TV personality capping his improbable political journey with an astounding upset victory.
Was no upset. Welcome to Smyth Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, and
Wolf Blitzer.
giving you the late-breaking news of what happened yesterday, last week, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, and really, really giving you the inside scoop. If you want to be part of the show, call in 513-888-1538. Follow us on Facebook.com/Smyth Radio. It's YTH.
Is it / or backslash? I never know what that is.
Put them both in there.
No.
Do not put them both in there. Follow us on Twitter at Smyth Radio, at Smyth Radio on Twitter, and then YouTube.com/Smyth Radio. We are all over the place for you. And if you go to our website, make it real simple. Just go right to smithradio.com, and you can see all the stuff.
Right.
There's buttons to click. There's things to watch. There's news stories to read. Breitbart's feeds there.
Do you load that thing up with videos and stuff like that and links?
There are literally videos that scroll through there on a regular basis through our YouTube channel. And I'm working on getting
Silence.
Heatstreet.com.
What?
Heatstreet.com. It's kind of an international type conservative sort of Breitbart news feed.
Okay, like an RSS feed?
Yeah,
okay.
RSS feed, right. So that's pretty good. And Wolf Blitzer screaming an upset victory. Folks, again, remember, fake news is everywhere, and we're here to tell you what the fake news is and what the real news isn't.
At least he said that he was elected president.
Yeah, that part he did get correct. That has been confirmed. It's also been confirmed and reconfirmed again and again.
Over and over. They keep trying every little thing to reverse it. I found a tweet, and I'm glad I didn't blow up about it because I had to look at the date, and that's when I just let it go. But somebody announced that he will not be our president. It will not happen. And I was like, whoa! And then I realized, oh, this tweet's from like really early December. And I was like, oh, and it's just an idiot troll.
Joe Biden this week drops I'm not sure, it's somewhere in the show notes, but Joe Biden is dropping the never Trump, gotta stop Trump. Joe Biden is stopping.
That's news to me.
Yeah. He no longer is a part of the camp.
Is he a Trump supporter?
No, that never happened. Let's get those levels up a little bit higher. Oh. Yeah, that never happened. No, he's still a never Trumper. However,
don't adjust your TV set.
What you are hearing is correct now.
Okay, so you can turn your radio down a little bit now. We probably just blew out your speakers.
Oh man, I had a feeling that was a little low.
Okay, all right. It's actually blowing me out now because I had my volume in my headset all the way up. So a little inside baseball for you guys.
Show notes there for you.
What? Brian just printed off the show notes and he handed it to me. Apparently he's out of ink. They're blank.
Apparently, Mr. Producer.
We always start off with a blank slate here, which is what makes this show so interesting. So what happened this week? Anything?
Well, breaking news. This went down within the last couple of hours, the 24 hours. Folks, you know the whole thing we've been talking about Israel, and we've been talking about the UN and how the UN is always going against Israel with sanctions, trying to shut Israel down, and then to give the land, the Israelis' land, and all their stuff, give it away to the Palestinians, give it away to the Muslims, Islam. ISIS wants a piece of Israel. I mean, literally everybody in the region it's everybody against Israel. Even Russia didn't veto that UN resolution, which is just very upsetting because Israel is a pro-peace, pro-democracy, pro-capitalist nation, and the only pro-friend we have that we can trust
in the Middle East.
And they were attacked once again. Muslim, Islam, practicing Palestinian, got in a truck and drove the truck through a crowd of soldiers, mowing down the soldiers in a truck, killing 4, wounding dozens.
And when did that happen?
Within the last 24 hours.
Ouch. Yeah, that sucks. So, but you know what? It's really sad that that's what kind of world we live in. And, I mean, do we accept it or do we fight back? I think that part of the Trump presidency or the success of his campaign was based on the fact that people are not going to accept this as a new norm that we should accept.
Right. Hey, check this out. Today, my kids at church and Sunday school learned, and I've been worried about the Sunday school teacher at our church because, well, we ran into a situation with him one time.
Did you check the registry to make sure that he was on the list?
He's not on the list.
Okay. Because you always got to check that.
Yeah.
You got to check that.
But some of his ideologies at a get-together that we had went against what we believed and seemed a little bit liberal-leaning. And so I was a little nervous about him, but he's a great guy nonetheless. And today he taught the students in the class about the original Holy Land, if you will, and the place where God had set up this section, this area for Jews and Judea and, practicing Jews and later Christians, was removed and covered up because you can't go there to visit it anymore because it was removed by Muslims, and they built a mosque on that site.
Oh, right, yeah. That's actually a common practice of theirs is once they conquer a Christian or Jewish Holy Land, they replace the mosques and synagogues with their mosques. And they rip down all the the crosses and the stars of David and all that kind of stuff.
Remove it all. And that is their goal. That to make no mistake, Islam's goal. And if you listen to the words they use, you listen to the words in the Quran, you listen to what they say. Please do not call them a liar. They are not lying. When they say they want to, the entire earth is theirs to be had, and they will take it over. And if you read in the Bible says the ones who wish to take over the land and take over the earth, and the earth is theirs. That's the devil versus us Christians just passing through. This is not ours. We're just passing through into heaven. So that is where you get the split from Islam and Christianity. Islam wants the entire world, and Allah is the silver-tongued one who says all. So God bless them. Anyways, that's the point. They are here to destroy and never to make peace with any religion. They can't live with any peaceful religion. Like you've got Mormons here in America. You've got Buddhist. You've got Hindu. You've got just about every single religion in the world here in America because it's a melting pot of the world. You also have Muslims here and Islam, which is clashing. But Christianity gets along with every single religion. They would even get along. Well, we've got a pope right now attempting to get along with Muslims and Islam, spouting off untruths about Islam. Anyways, so the Pope is attempting to make peace.
And I'm Catholic myself, and I'm going to tell you right now, they could excommunicate me, but man, he seems like a commie.
Yeah, buddy.
And that's the thing. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and turn a blind eye or act like it's not true when it is. And, I would say if you were to get a moment of truth out of him, he would probably admit it. I don't think he necessarily denies it.
No, I don't
but
think.
I would say that he's probably a Marxist. And I would think that he would probably say, well, yeah, but. right?
Or he'd be willing to make a deal with them. Hey, I think we can work this out.
Oh gosh,
of sorts. I'm seriously, the things that he has said. Take people for their words. Words mean things. So as you can see, the title of the show, Obama's Legacy, or the failed legacy. We're going to be talking about that today.
I got to say something real quick. We're going to talk about the Black Lives Matters kidnapping in Chicago during this show. And I'll tell you what, Twitter, Jack Dorsey, I don't know if he does it personally or if he has an army of bots that does this on his behalf. But wow, the tags, this is something that I have to take my hat off to Trump supporters, to right wingers, and this is just great. There is a desperate effort by all of us to get the word out about the truth about this Black Lives Matters kidnapping, and Twitter is doing everything to suppress it. And it's not just Twitter; it's all the mainstream media.
Well, you got CNN saying 4 people kidnap and assault a man.
Right, but then they get into the details, and it's just a mess. They're actually flat out lying. That's saying there's no evidence that it's connected to Black Lives Matter, and we're going to talk about that. But here's what my point is. This is why I brought it up before we get a chance to talk to it. I'm on Twitter right now, and I've been on Twitter all week about this kidnapping thing in Chicago, and they keep taking down any trending tags associated with it, no matter what. And I just have to crack up laughing. Guess what has been starting to trend periodically throughout the week, and trending right now is BLM kidnapping. So
they screw up the spelling
on purpose, and people are using the misspelled tag just in some desperate attempt
to get it out.
Get somebody to find this, find the story and figure out what's going on. And it's just a real shame that we live in a Gestapo-controlled it's an alternate universe. When you talk about your presence on Twitter, it's a virtual world. And it's just like the real world. You got children. Do you protect your children from the internet? And what for? It's kind of the same reason you don't let them walk 2 miles to school through a bad neighborhood.
Right.
Because they are actually venturing with their mind into an alternate universe, right?
Correct.
It's like they're being plugged into the Matrix, but instead of with a plug that you see in the Matrix right into the back of their head, it's just with their eyeballs and their fingers by typing in, so they get to see and read and all that. So anyway, that alternate universe is being heavily regulated by people that I don't know. Do they have the right to do that? That's a question that probably needs to be explored. A business, does Twitter and Facebook have the right to screw with trending topics? Well, I say they do have the ability. If they have the ability to do that, and in a free market system, if they want to become that, just like CNN, if they want to lie about the news, I can't say that's illegal. Well, here's where I could, you would think in a theoretical world of these online universes, like your Twitters, your Facebooks, your YouTubes, which are the 3 biggies. Those are the 3 big ones. And there's other ones too. But they don't necessarily compete against each other that much. They are their own entities. And the problem is that they're all in lockstep with each other ideologically. So when they censor right-wing messaging, it's always they all are censoring the same thing. So you end up completely blocking out right-wing messaging. Facebook doesn't allow it. YouTube has been taking off any kind of serious right-wing messaging, or at least censoring it. And then Twitter heavily censors it. And they'll ban you and kick you off and all that stuff.
Well, even the platform that we use, Spreaker, they will never – I have complained to them on a regular basis. They will never, ever, ever – when you go to the site, Spreaker.com, shows 3 or 4 different shows that you can listen to right now, right away. They are always the worst shows. They are always the most insignificant shows. They're not followed by, they're not liked by, they're not played by, and they put those up as what to listen to versus some of the big shows that are trending. Even Wayne Dupree. I mean, the only fact that he shows up that we see him is because we follow him. Other than that, probably would never see Wayne Dupree.
Shame. That's a shame.
And then us, and we are never. We've been with Spreaker almost 3 years.
We've been there way longer than Wayne Dupree.
Right. And I've never seen us on the front page trending ever. And if we were to be...
how many followers do we have on Spreaker?
13,000? 14,000?
It may be more than that. When's the last time you checked? I mean,
it's been a while.
Yeah, it may be 20,000 or so now. And we have a bigger Spreaker following than people like Wayne Dupree and Bill Mitchell and all them. And it's because, we've been there for a long time. And yet, we got these no-name guys, I don't know what they're putting up there ahead of us, featuring. You know what I mean?
It's usually, if you look at it, it's usually some kind of liberal, silly topic that's nonsensical. I mean, just click on it. You'll see. There you go. What's the score? And football, basketball... Balance Boldly. I mean, it's nonsense.
Ooh, let's listen to the Balance Boldly podcast. Learn about the daily business and personal struggles of global industry experts and get tips on how to overcome uncertainties and find your balance.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. I really think that.
Oh, this is a good one. College Humor, which is flat out leftist communist propaganda. Jeff Rubin of College Humor presents interviews with creative people who have turned their obsessions into professions. Well, what are we?
Obsessions into professions. They will never have us on there.
We have turned our obsession into a profession and gives expert analysis on the geeky things they do. They're geeks. When I was growing up, geeks were geeks because they were unpopular.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
We have a president just like that.
Yeah.
Literally.
I guess so, yeah.
The pajama boy geek who is literally got elected solely on the fact that propaganda propelled him that way.
Let me gently caress and hug my mug of green tea.
Right.
While I curl up on a love seat with my pajamas on. And wait for it to cool. I'll blow it so it cools down.
Nice.
And then I'll think about what I'm not going to do today.
There you go.
Anyway.
There you go. So we're going to get into that. We're getting into some stats about Chicago, Obama's hometown, if you will. He claims it to be his hometown. He wasn't born there, but he moved there.
What, Chicago, Kenya?
Chicago, Kenya, right. But he moved there with the intentions of connecting with other...
Sorry about that, folks.
He moved there with the intentions of connecting with other like-minded communists. He found them. He met up with his mentor, who I refer to as his father, Frank Marshall Davis.
Whoa. Do you have any substantiation for that?
Let me say he was a father figure.
That's why everybody calls us fake, okay?
Father figure
okay.
to Obama. And meeting up with Loretta Lynch and her father as well, all card-carrying communists in Chicago. Rahm Emanuel, mayor of Chicago, he's part of the same group of insane communists. We need to start using the word again and again. Communists, that's who they are. They are alive and kicking, make no bones about it.
Well, what are you, Joseph McCarthy all of a sudden? What's going on?
We need to bring him back. You need to bring back Joseph McCarthy.
You mean like Weekend at Bernie's?
Correct. We will talk about breaking news and stuff. The whole thing in Fort Lauderdale, Islam strikes America once again.
Whoa. I thought he was a white Hispanic. Whoa. Brian, you need to clean it up, man.
You could be of any color. I'm just saying he was a Muslim Islamic terrorist. He could be green for all I care.
Actually, that wasn't even his real name is what I heard.
Islamic Muslim terrorist was not his name?
That's what he changed his name to.
Right. So apparently, we can clear this one real quick. Apparently, he believed to this guy who was radicalized, claims he was radicalized by ISIS and forced to watch hundreds of hours of YouTube videos on ISIS killing and murdering, claims he was brainwashed, actually contacted the FBI and told them this.
In Alaska. What was he doing in Alaska? They're talking about how he's white, Hispanic, how he could be Muslim. Does that mean he's Middle Eastern? He might be Eskimo.
It could be.
I don't know. Well, if you've seen a picture of him, clearly he has a darker complexion, but it's really ambiguous as to exactly what his lineage may or may not be. I mean, it's kind of ambiguous because when you hear his name, you're like, oh, Hispanic, which is why the fake news media reported that. When you hear his name, it's like, what I don't even know, whatever his name is. It sounds very Hispanic. And then when you find out that he's a freaking ISIS, admitted ISIS member who was forced, didn't he say he was forced?
Yeah, he was forced, but you can't. I'm getting word from the producer. You are not allowed to use the word Eskimo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is inflammatory.
Is that hate speech now?
Hate speech, they are Inuit.
Inuit? I've never heard of that in my life.
INUIT, Inuit. That's coming from
the old headphones.
The headphones.
I've never heard of Inuit in my life.
Yeah, be careful, folks.
You know, in about 10, 15, 20 years, they're going to say, whoa, you do not call them Inuit. Whoa. This is how the left does it. They're constantly turning words into hate speech. Did you know that the word moron, swear to God, moron was a medical term?
I still use it as a medical term.
He is a clinical moron.
Right.
No, not Brian. I mean,
right.
Yeah, the word moron used to be the word that doctors came up with to describe people who are of limited mental faculties.
And not to be, crossing the line or anything, but when we were kids in the 80s, we were informed, we were told that when you refer to a black person, you refer to them as a Negro.
It was probably before that they stopped using that. Maybe the 70s, I think.
No, I
know Johnson did.
At Chevy Elementary, our teachers told us in the early 80s.
You can call them Negro.
No, that's what you're supposed to.
Oh, you're supposed to?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And the whole African American didn't come around until what? Mid-90s?
I'd say early 90s. All of a sudden, everybody had to call them African American. There was a time when you would call a black person
Black American.
Colored people. There was a lot of different terms.
Oh, yeah.
And every 5 to 10 years, whatever you're supposed to call that ethnic group becomes a slur.
So you're always racist because you're always behind the curve on them changing.
People think that President Johnson is a complete racist because there's hundreds of hours of audio of him calling black people Negroes. And I'm sure that if you're listening to us right now, if you're listening to this right now, and the year is 2030, you're going to be like, wow, listen to him call, I don't know what they'll call him in the future.
Right.
Let's say black people. They're saying, they're calling them black. Holy.
And we have friends that are black that say, no, I'm black. I'm not from Africa, bro.
Well, there's one term. Well, that definitely Negroes has been decided that they don't want to be called that. But African American. Now, I've heard lots and lots of people say, dude, do not call us African American. I don't like to. We don't call each other African American. No. And there's a reason.
Right.
Because I have about probably 90% German, and I wouldn't want to be called German American.
No. So the Inuits up in Alaska,
okay,
the Eskimos. No, they are Eskimos. However, there was a news article that came out a while ago saying that they're Inuits.
Okay,
that was inflammatory to refer to them as Eskimos.
All right.
Anywho,
is it because I don't know? I mean,
It's their MO. They changed the words to make it, and now we're racist
And by
for saying
by they we mean leftists. All leftists.
Right.
It doesn't matter what color you are.
No.
The racists on the left, which is all left. If you're on the left, you're a racist.
anything from Don Lemon to Van Jones to Chris Matthews and Cal, Mad Cow, Rachel,
Maddow.
yeah, Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
I mean,
You gotta
all
be careful because there's an actual DJ called Mad Cow.
Yes, that's right.
So when you say that, they're gonna be like, "What?"
Pierce Morgan.
Oh yeah,
Pierce Morgan, yeah. He got banned, got kicked out of America. He's in the UK
Okay.
doing the same thing again. He hasn't let up. And
Aren't they in UK saying why does he keep talking about America?
Prison Planet, Paul Watson blast him still, even though he's in the UK. Well, you got to stay on top of
I'm
these.
so glad
commies.
they got him out of here because he would sit there and lecture Americans in his thick British accent about how crazy we are and how violent we are for wanting a Second Amendment. I mean, my goodness.
When people would stop frequenting his show because it was just so abusive. So Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. This comes out of Breitbart News. This was the headline or the first title, a couple sentences. On January 6th, the passenger from an Air Canada flight allegedly pulled a gun from a checked bag. So that's the bag that is underneath the aircraft.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of weird. I thought thought they were scanned. I thought they would scan.
Well, no. Oh, man, there's a lot of different stories. There are a lot of conflicting reports from this.
But do they scan checked bags?
Yeah, but if you check a weapon, they know it's a weapon.
Oh, right. So if you're in the area that allows you, because if you were in the state of Illinois, you could not, and you said, I want to check a weapon, they would check you into prison. you can't. Had a buddy moving to northern Michigan or Minnesota above Illinois.
Yeah.
He had to drive 10 hours out of the way.
Shut up.
In the U-Haul with his guns, his gun collection. In the U-Haul, had to drive around the entire state of Illinois because if he was stopped and caught, they would have all gone to prison immediately.
That actually reminds me of when we were in Yuma, Arizona, which is right on the border of Chicago. And in order to drive up to...
not literally.
Wait,
Yuma is not on the border of Chicago.
I mean, California. I was thinking C. My brain just said it starts with a C. No, California. Yuma's on the border of California, and in order to get to Las Vegas, the shortest way happens to venture into California.
Right.
Well, we were armed to the teeth, and you can't go into the totalitarian dictatorship of California with guns because they do not adhere to the Constitution of the United States because they're not part of the United States in their minds. So they don't adhere to that. So yeah, we could have been put in a gulag for life.
Check this out. And we're still on Fort Lauderdale. We're not getting too far off on it, but this is, new news coming up within the last week or so. Republicans on the Hill are literally, I think they like to take credit for something, so they know Trump's going to do it, and they're attempting to push it through before Trump comes up, which is fine.
So they can take credit for it.
Yeah, and that's fine because
Right.
they're attempting to push through an amendment, the law stating reciprocity, meaning.
Yeah, please define that.
Right now in the state of Indiana, if you want a CCW, concealed carried weapons permit, your license in Indiana, you pay a fee, and you walk into the wherever police station, wherever. It's the courthouse. Walk in the courthouse, show your ID, pay a fee, fill out paperwork, and done. They give it to you lifetime.
Okay, good.
Okay, Ohio, 3 days, 10 hours a day. You have to pay for and sit through a class of 30 hours.
Okay. And I actually kind of applaud this because I'm a Marine Corps veteran. When I entered boot camp, I had never fired a weapon in my life. Ever.
But if you're attempting to get a concealed carried weapons permit, usually you're an individual that knows what the heck you're doing. Usually.
Really?
Usually. But, okay.
I don't know, man.
All right. I might
people.
digress. Okay. So, but the whole thing is, once you go through the class, you get all the paperwork together, you then need to schedule an appointment with the sheriff's office.
To do what?
Oh, well, to have an interview.
What?
Which a family member of ours did, and that's why I know.
Okay.
He couldn't get an interview. He couldn't get the appointment. He kept getting...
They said, oh, we're busy.
Yeah, on and on. So he contacted an in-law who is an ex-undercover cop.
Okay.
And he's like, I get you in, man. Don't worry.
Okay.
Got him in.
So you have to know. Wow, this is corrupt.
Paid the sheriffs, and now this is only a 2-year permit. He has to re-up it every couple years.
And if they decide they don't want you to be armed, if they want to violate the Second Amendment,
right,
which would allow you to be armed without any of this,
right.
And to be honest with you, you have to get screwed. If you really know how the justice system works and how laws work in America, in order for them to prosecute you successfully for possessing arms of just about any kind, you have to get screwed in court. They have to literally come down with a decision that is wrong. Right. So all these regulations and rules that you're required to do, or these permits that you're supposed to apply for or pay for and all that, all of it is just a bunch of crap, because any court that was doing it correctly would find you innocent of bearing arms, because the Second Amendment guarantees that you're allowed to bear arms.
Okay, so Allen West, right after the gay marriage was approved, that all states had to recognize states that do recognize gay marriage, all states had to recognize. Allen West said, hey, you know what? They have just now approved CCW, gun rights for all in the entire state, or entire country of America. Because of this sets precedent. Going back to reciprocity. Every state has different rules to carry a weapon. Some states, your constitution is your permit.
Yeah.
Well, right. So, however, if you look at a map of the states, it's color-coded and it tells you what states will honor your state and which ones won't. If you're in Indiana and you attempt to come to Ohio with a concealed weapon, don't do it. Ohio does not recognize Indiana because Indiana doesn't go through a...
But does Ohio recognize the United States Constitution?
That is still up for debate.
Because of Kasich, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
so you've got
goodness.
different colors on the map that tell you which states honor which states, and red, blue, yellow, green, whatever. There's only one state in all 50 states, 57 if you're Obama. There's one state in all 50 states that's black. Literally the entire state is blacked out.
As being not part of the United States? Or?
Right. Don't come here. We don't want you. We don't honor it. And you probably can't get one if you live here.
And that is?
State of Illinois.
Wow. Okay, so they've also seceded from the Union.
Correct.
They're the second one. The first one was California.
Right. So reciprocity, meaning each state must recognize every single state.
That sounds like a fake word. It's the reciprocity.
Well, whether it's fake or not, I don't know. But the point is that because gay marriage has to be recognized by every state who doesn't want to recognize it, you see where it's going?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We must all recognize each other's states when it comes to guns and gun licensing.
Oh, right. So if I'm a Ohio resident and I went through and did all the proper procedures for getting my concealed permit, and I just happened to be venturing through Illinois with my Ohio driver's license in my car that has an Ohio license plate and all that.
Right, your CCW license
Right.
and your gun.
Well, then let me
into
ask
your
you
belt.
this. I bought a vehicle from Kentucky, and in that state, they do not require you to have a license plate on the front.
And Indiana as well. Ohio is completely different.
Right, you have to, or else you can get pulled over and get given a ticket.
Correct.
Well, I did get a ticket, even though at the time I think there were Kentucky plates on it, and a plate, because there was no plate in the front. And since the vehicle was sold initially in Kentucky, it did not even have a mounting plate on the front.
Correct, it won't.
I would have to get an aftermarket mounting plate for the license plate in the front.
When he pulled you over and gave you a ticket, did he ask you, are you Ohio residents planning on licensing this vehicle in Ohio?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
He should have given a warning, but I know for a fact my dad, who lives in Indiana.
Well, it didn't help that I also didn't have my seatbelt on, and
yeah,
I was
right.
speeding, and I had an open container.
Oh my God!
I'm just kidding.
I had an open container of crack cocaine. That's what I said. No,
there was a naked dead hooker in the back seat.
Oh my goodness! Is this the Kennedys? We're reliving the Kennedys all over again.
Oh man, that was before I became Republican.
Yes. Anyway, so Ohio will recognize that Indiana and Kentucky, if you're driving through Ohio, you just won't have the plate. That's reciprocity, meaning they understand. But you got tough cookies who'll do whatever. Like there are
Mr. Officer, I got reciprocity.
And you should have said that. No, but there are cops, and the cops told me they will knowingly, if you take a breathalyzer and you're driving, you take a breathalyzer, they will knowingly give you a DUI, charge you with a DUI, even though you're not drunk, knowing that 9 times out of 10, people will plead it out. And they'll pay the fees. So they're literally making money.
That's how they get you. Right. Speaking of Ohio and Kasich, did you hear about the Planned Parenthood thing? It's, Kasich has been supported by far-right Republicans in Ohio. People outside of Ohio are probably thinking, what? He's a flat-out Democrat. Even though he has an R next to his name.
Right.
He's like the King Rhino. He is really hard on Planned Parenthood here in Ohio. And so what happened this week is that that the entire federal government is going to end all funding of Planned Parenthood under the Trump administration, apparently.
Yeah.
That just came out this week.
Yeah, it should.
It's like 40% of their entire budget
right.
is from the federal government. And then there's all these propaganda news outlets coming out with propaganda for Planned Parenthood, saying stuff like, facts you didn't know about Planned Parenthood, that only 3% of procedures done at Planned Parenthood are abortions. And, stuff like that.
Kill that, man.
Oh, and that none of the money that they receive, none of it goes towards any abortions. And that if you want to come to Planned Parenthood and get an abortion, you have to pay for it unless it's rape, incest, or life of the mother, which is 100% of them, because that's what they'll just say. I was raped. Do you want to press charges? Well, no, but I was raped.
Okay, well, we have a group over here that we can sell the fetus to. I mean the baby. And they'll actually compensate you.
Interesting. It's a fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser.
Gosh.
So
where's James O'Keefe when we need him?
So we're wrapping up the entire Fort Lauderdale thing.
Oh, are we still? I thought we hadn't even started on that. Wrapping it up. Are you kidding me?
So on January 6th, a passenger from Air Canada flight allegedly pulled a gun from a checked bag in the baggage claim and opened fired, shooting numerous innocents inside the passenger terminal. By the way, this is from Breitbart News. Florida law designates an airport, air quotes, passenger terminal, as one of many places that law-abiding citizens are not allowed to carry a gun. This was a gun-free zone.
Okay, so how did he get the gun in there?
It was in his bag.
And it was checked initially.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how it got checked. I'm beside myself.
Because they have different security perimeters inside of airports. The most secure one you can only get into if you have a ticket. And when you get into the most secure one, you're not even allowed to have safety pins.
Yeah, I've seen guys on hunting expeditions check in a hard shell case with their shotguns or guns.
You're not even allowed to have your own bottled water.
No, you're not.
If you have to sit in that extra secure perimeter for a long period of time, such as waiting for a connector flight, and you get hungry or thirsty, they have the restaurants within that area and stores. But you can't bring anything from home and actually consume it there because it won't make it through the security check. That's why they say no liquids, no bottles, no more than 3 ounces of shampoo and blah, 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 and all this stuff. So that part of it, he would never have his gun.
Right.
It would be in the area before you get to that checkpoint, which is where he would have checked in and he would have received his check bag from there. So he would have been inside the least secure perimeter, I imagine.
Right.
So,
well, yeah, there at the very end, where people can actually from the outside walk in and meet you at the baggage claim.
Yes, and that's where he would have got his gun and started firing, I guess.
Correct.
And it would have been crowded because everybody from his flight would have been milling around waiting for their bags.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, they tried to say he was they couldn't say he was a Hispanic, but they couldn't just say he was white because of his name. And his name is very Hispanic. So and then they looked at the picture and said, well, this guy is clearly not white, but the fake stream media needed to make him a white person. It was very important. I'm actually surprised they didn't Photoshop a swastika and a Confederate flag all over him.
Just like they did before with the Hispanic white. I mean, they've done it before. They took a black guy and they whited him, made him. We did the article on the show, and I showed you the before, the after, and they whited him down.
Right. They've done that a lot. Right. Interesting. In order to who was it? Was it the murderer from the gay man and the journalist? Gay man, gay journalist. Didn't they white him out?
Right.
He was also black.
Right.
He was gay, he was a journalist, but he was also what that soundbite that we were making fun of that you played didn't say that he was black. But when they put pictures of him up there, they adjusted the contrast and the brightness and just totally whitewashed him.
Oh yeah.
So anyway,
without a doubt, so we've got. I just want to say hey to some of the guys on the chat session. We got Sam Keels as always. Thank you for joining us, and DJ T, the president elect, is back.
DJ T,
yeah, he's back.
Wow, we're so fortunate to have him.
And some of the we mentioned earlier about fake news. If you guys ever get this Young Turks.
Oh my gosh. He's not big enough to be called, well, he's certainly not mainstream.
Do you know the girl that's on there with him, the blonde?
Maybe.
This is what she said this week.
But am I saying that I'm better than you? Yeah, I'm fucking better than you. Okay? Much better than you. You are garbage.
Who is she talking about?
Us, deplorables.
Oh, you see, that's why you lost. Because here's the thing, and you're going to learn this in your life if you haven't already. Listeners to this show probably have learned it already. You're always going to be on the popular side eventually. It may take a long time. You might have to overcome a lot of obstacles, but if you stay on the side of righteousness,
right,
meaning moral righteousness, you're on the side of morality and truth, you're always going to be popular eventually. And sure enough, we stuck to our guns. We didn't go down the path. And guess what? We're popular, and it's proven by this past election.
It's time to get what you really wanted for the holidays.
That brought to you by
CNN.
Oh, boy. Anyway,
CNN,
you need to have like a quick mute or something. I don't know.
CNN was trying to blast this Fort Lauderdale shooter, Esteban Santiago. Hey, he didn't get the help he needed from coming back from Iraq. George Bush's war. He needed help. He was dismissed.
Oh, like there's less PTSD from Afghanistan than there is Iraq. They're just throwing anything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Right? No, that's exactly what they're doing. I'm done. I'm done with this this terrorism. I'm done with anybody who is brainwashed, or because if you believe in Islam and you are practicing Islam and you agree with the Quran, you are brainwashed. So if Santiago claims he was brainwashed, I believe him.
Okay.
If you go down that road of Islam, you literally must be brainwashed to believe that killing all non-believers will get you 72 virgins in the afterlife.
Yeah, brainwash is such a derogatory term, and a lot of times it is abused and misused, and I don't want people to ever accuse us of that. So when we talk about brainwashing, what we really mean is that you've been taught something that has become a part of your belief system, where it would take remedial brainwashing to unbrainwash you. And generally what that means is that you believe something that is universally thought of as not exactly true or unproven or whatever. So, and the left would say that we're victims of brainwashing for believing that Trump is going to do what he says he's going to do or whatnot. But you know what? I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to see if he can pull off what he says he's going to do, or he's going to try to do the things that he wants to do. I think it was Mike Pence this week who said that we are going to be in the upholding promises business. Did you hear that one?
No, what?
Yeah, Mike Pence said that we are going to be we're in the business of upholding promises now.
Sweet mother of mercy. I don't know any politician that has ever said that in his entire career.
I love that statement because it's pretty much putting everybody on notice. We got elected because we said certain things, and people said, "You know what? I like that. I'm going to vote for him." Because if I didn't like that stuff, I wouldn't vote for him. So at this point, if we don't keep our promises, then people who voted for them are going to be like, what the F?
Well, just like Trump pulled Newt Gingrich aside. Newt Gingrich came out and said, the drain the swamp. No, we're not using that anymore. We're not draining the swamp. And immediately, Trump pulled him aside with a picture of him and Trump together on Twitter, went live, said, no, make no never mind.
Don't you make no never mind.
We draining this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
12 more days till Trump is president, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Hail that, 12 days.
Congratulations. 12 days. Is it the 12 days of Trump now?
They
we
did
need a song for that.
They did do it.
Did they?
Somebody did do the 12 days of Trump.
Oh, I am so uninformed.
For the Christmas thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of all of that, let's talk about the debacle with the wall, because this blew up with all my friends on Facebook. There's all these people just blowing up. So what happened is this is just what I read. It may be fake. I may have read this from
go
fake
all
news.
the way back. Literally, Trump ran his entire campaign
Build the wall.
Getting people to chant it at every single rally.
Absolutely. So he not. Sometimes it was chanted without being prompted.
Right. Fake news, tried to discredit it and try to make us mad, try to troll us and said, yeah. He ain't going to do that.
Well, they said that during the campaign.
He won't.
The big news this week was that Trump is going to, or announced that he's going, or maybe he actually did, ask Congress for the money to build the wall.
And the Republicans on the Hill said, we'll look for it. We'll try and find it.
Okay, I only skimmed through the article, but here's what I did read. The liberal Democrat responses of not just establishment professional liberal talking heads, but actual friends on Facebook who happen to vote Democrat are blowing up about how, see, he lied. Mexico ain't going to pay for crap. You guys fell for it. You guys are so dumb. You're so dumb.
You're so dumb.
You're so dumb. And I was like, whoa. Here's what you need to tell everybody who says that. Mexico is going to pay for that effing wall just as sure as you're going to pay that bank for the car you just drove off the car lot.
Correct.
You don't give $20,000 to the dealership for the car you just drove off. The bank did. The bank just gave that dealership.
You are really dumb. For real.
No, seriously, guys. Seriously, every time somebody says, "Oh, look, Donald he did not fulfill his promise. He lied to you about Mexico paying for the wall. We knew they weren't going to pay for the wall. He had no way of making them pay for the wall. And so it was a lie. And now look at him. We're going to pay for the wall because he's asking Congress for the taxpayer money to pay for the wall." No. Guys. Just like when you drive a car off the new car lot and you didn't give that car dealership a dime, that car was paid for by the bank.
Right.
But
and
guess what?
Trump tweeted out, because of the urgency in the situation we are at right now, this is due to urgency.
So this is what I tell all my Facebook friends who are trying to claim this. I'm glad that Trump is not going to wait to build the wall until we receive a check from Mexico.
Dude, it's exciting.
We're going to build it now, and then we're going to implement the policies that will end up making them pay for it. How does that happen? Because the savings that we will get from avoiding all the money from flooding back to Mexico in various different forms is going to end up it costs Mexico that money, and that money is going to be in America now, and that's how they're going to pay for the wall.
Right.
And it's not mental gymnastics. It's just a fact. We hemorrhage a lot of money from illegals coming over here and working and sending money back to Mexico. Brian saw this firsthand in California.
It is.
You hired people.
It is Mexico's number.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Mexico's number one import. American dollars.
Export. Their biggest export
is American dollars.
Workers sending money back. Labor. Their biggest export is labor.
They said technically it was second.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
That's big, though. That's big.
It's huge. No, without a doubt. It's absolutely insane. I had a talk with my brother today, and he brought up the wall. Matter of fact, he was over last night, and him and a friend had kind of pushing back on me about the whole wall and kind of, I don't agree with that. That's just so wrong, so wrong.
To build a wall?
And I...
Do you lock your door? That's the typical.
I just stay quiet. I don't say nothing. The pictures went around viral of Obama's new home. They're right now under construction.
What did he buy with his $400,000 a year job that he had for the past 8 years?
McMansion. It looks like a castle. And they're currently under construction building a wall.
Really? A wall?
Yes.
Build the
wall.
Dude, we should chant that outside his estate.
Yes, we should. But the whole point was, and I didn't say anything. I don't get into it with anybody anymore. I really don't. I don't have the energy.
You've gotten good at that. I'm bad. Let's be honest. I get trolled and I like it.
Yes, you do.
I'm like, oh, look. He threw a big old hook in the water, and I'm that fish. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get it, and I'll look at it and I'll say, yes, that is a hook, but I'll go for it anyway.
And not only will I go for it, but I'm gonna pull him in the water.
That's a good one, because that pretty much sums it up.
Right. So I didn't bite. I walked away from it, let them just carry on. And they were involved throwing out, and we're going to get into the Jew thing too. They started throwing out Jew this, Jew that. And I said, you know what, guys? And he claimed somebody was Jewish. I looked it up real quick, and it was conspiracy theorists say. I'm like, dude, if you're referring to a conspiracytheorist.com website to back you up, you a liar in my book.
And if you're using PolitiFact, that is definitely
or
fake
Snopes.
Yeah, they're all fake,
okay.
Proven fake. Yeah.
So the whole wall, as I was talking to my brother today about the wall, I told him, I said, the wall is going to save lives on both sides of the border, because now we currently allow illegals, people in Mexico, to pay coyotes to attempt a trek across the desert.
Right. Yeah.
They have what they refer to as rape trees, where they
we
will
talked about that on
rape
the
and
show.
pillage the women and then hang their undergarments on the trees as trophy trees, if you will. The liberal Democrats have posted water tanks and rest stations, if you will, in the desert to attempt to save these people from their plight of being in a hot desert. We build the wall, and that will deter them from thinking they can trek across the desert with no provisions.
Right.
If I did it in a car, which I've done it many times, I check the tires, I check my water coolant, I check my stuff. Do you have enough fuel?
It hasn't happened in a long time, at least 10 years, but it seemed like every 2 years you'd hear something in the news about somebody found in the desert dead of dehydration because their car broke down.
Right.
It was a common occurrence. I haven't heard anything in about 10 years, but for a while there, it was like every 2 years somebody died just from getting broken down.
I rode my motorcycle through the Mojave Desert.
Yeah.
And at one of the rest stations, I stopped. I was just kind of hanging out. And this guy walked up to me. I was chatting with him. He's like, "Man, you know you're in the desert?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, people die out here." I said, "Okay. What, you going to run out of fuel and break down? What, you don't have anything." I'm like, "Well."
Did he say, "You got a purty mouth"?
And he broke out in song.
Oh, man. He's like, "You got your banjo?"
Got your banjo, got to get it going on.
gosh.
So, but yeah, no, the wall will save lives on both sides. We'll have law and order. Right now, you've got the Mexican drug cartel literally terrorizing Americans on the border of Mexico. It's law and order president. That's what he ran on. I am the law and order candidate. Did you see what Governor Pence just posted on Twitter?
Just now?
Yeah.
Nope, didn't see it.
Enjoying a quiet moment on our last Sunday morning at the governor's residence.
Oh, man, he's moving out.
Look at all the boxes.
Oh, my gosh, it's like stacked up everywhere.
Yeah.
Is he taking all the jewels of the china and the fixtures?
No, he's conservative. He don't need that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The W key on the keyboards. Remember that happened in 2000 and
stole every W on every
2000. Yeah. The Clintons did it.
Yep.
In 2000 when W won, they took all the W's off of all the keyboards.
Good times.
So dumb.
Moving van showed up at Obama's estate, referred to as the White House.
Was everybody chanting, "Na, na, 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 na"?
Goodbye. Hey. Goodbye. Good riddance. There's his legacy is on the line, if you will.
Oh, my gosh. So he's been doing all kinds of things to try to preserve that, right?
He was on NBC, did an interview on NBC Chicago on his legacy. If you will, this is our first soundbite of the day. I'm going to go ahead and play this one real quick. This is Obama. Just listen to the sound clip. They're advertising the interview on this sound clip. But this is all you need to know of the entire interview.
Carol joins us live from Washington tonight with more on her interview with the president. Good evening, Carol.
Good evening, Rob and Allison. You know, the president seemed very relaxed today, ready to move on to the next chapter, the one titled Citizen, but not before making it absolutely clear what he believes his legacy of accomplishment is, understanding there are some gaps in it.
Understanding there are some gaps in it.
Isn't she going to get taken to the woodshed for that?
What's she going to make up for it here? Hold on.
Oh, okay.
With just days left in office,
how you been?
The president defended his record, including Obamacare and economic reforms for the country. But on the topic of gun violence and bloodshed in Chicago, he, like so many others, is without answers.
I was at Hyde Park Academy when you gave arguably one of your most impassioned speeches, and yet it's worse now than when you were there.
Real quick. She said you gave one of your most impassioned speeches. There's a guy I've been listening to who has a talk show in the middle of the night and but I listened to it. Roy Masters. He made the comment that during, and I'm not equating Obama to Hitler, but during World War II, the Nazis would tell the people, in order to see Hitler's light, the greatness of the light of the Fuhrer, in order to see that, you must allow yourself to become extremely emotionally charged to be able to see his light. So the more emotionally charged you are, the more you can see that light. So when she makes comment, folks, understand emotions are everything about these people. When she makes the comment, your most emotional and impassioned speech, I think she's throwing a dog whistle out there.
That's very well said.
Why?
You know, I have been pushing everybody that has impact on criminal justice issues to answer that very question. I don't think that there's one reason, and I don't think there's a silver bullet answer for it.
And he's talking about crime and gun crime, and he said, I don't think there's a silver bullet answer for it.
I was wondering if you noticed that. That was very unfortunate use of word. It's like when Palin said, we're targeting this and we're targeting that, and they were like, what?
Who do you have in your targets?
Well, she had crosshairs over the top of pictures of different Democrats.
Oh, wow.
And it was, I know it was like this thing, they were just trying to knock them off politically.
Right.
They're trying to get them out of office using the election.
Right. Well, Democrats project, and they're like, well, we really want to kill you, so obviously you're saying you want to kill us.
Yeah, they're murderers.
Right.
And as his 8 years in office conclude, the president is a bit wistful, according to those close to him, like senior advisor Valerie Jarrett.
He has enjoyed this. He's found it challenging and rewarding and frustrating and every possible emotion you can imagine.
The president said he won't be shy about speaking his mind as a citizen once out of office.
My intention is not to be in the day-to-day scrum, but it is my intention as a citizen to continue to promote the things that I care about and that I've cared about ever since I
such as racial
moved
division.
to Chicago as a young community organizer.
Asked about a last-minute commutation for imprisoned Governor Rod Blagojevich, the president was non-committal. As for his own legacy, Mr. Obama will spend the next 2 weeks expressing this message.
I look back on the last 8 years with enormous pride. We didn't get everything we wanted to get done. On the other hand, I think we're well positioned for the future.
His final speech as president is Tuesday, back home in Chicago.
Sir, we'll see you in Chicago. It'll be kind of a teary, emotional time, won't it?
I look forward to coming home. It's always good.
Teary and emotional. Wistful, by the way, having or showing a feeling of vague or regretful longing.
I got good news for Obama.
Just had to define that.
Fortunately for him, and also this is good news for the Democrats. Fortunately for him and fortunately for the Democrats, he won't have a legacy. I believe at least that the intention is to reverse everything. You got the executive orders, you got Obamacare, and for the first time since sometime during the Bush administration, we might actually have some sort of an actual booming economy outside of the government bureaucracy. And so therefore, not only will he have nothing to show for his 8 years, but we'll also have what we never had during his years, which was, he talks about economic reforms. I mean, you mean giving away money to people who aren't working?
The food stamp president, King.
Right.
King president.
He did a lot more to create poverty amongst, he expanded poverty is what it was.
Right. Gun violence and homicides in Chicago, 2012, 504. 2013 went down, 419. 2014 kind of stayed there at 416. 2015 rose a little bit to 585 homicides. 2016 closed out 762 homicides out of Chicago alone. You're talking thousands of murdered citizens, more than our soldiers in Iraq. You're talking about an American city.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about this.
More people die per year in Chicago than in Fallujah during the worst part of the Iraq War. So it's kind of like, what the hell is going on up there?
Well, it's to blame Rahm Emanuel. The mayor, Rahm Emanuel, literally has the blood on his hands. And he's part and parcel. They're together, Rahm and Obama, very tight, very like-minded individuals.
Well, it kind of reminds... Now, nobody's ever really thrown this out there, but I'll throw it out there right now. If you think about the whole purpose of Fast and Furious, which was Eric Holder deciding that the best way to push for gun control in America is to cause catastrophes on the border of Mexico.
You fake it.
Well, the catastrophes are real because you just have to arm everybody there and get them to send it. And the cartels were rising, and then there's all this gun violence and all that. And so he was hoping that he would be able to use that as a way to push for gun control. And it kind of makes me think that that's what they're doing in Chicago. They want to increase the murder rate as best they can, as high as they can. They want to go for record highs.
Did you say, I think you mentioned to me in a text that one of the weapons found in that that concert mass murder in France, one of the weapons found is connected to Fast and Furious.
Oh, that's right.
You remember that?
True. Yep. That is true. I remember that.
Dude, there's something really wrong with this. So, I mean, literally, Obama is connected to mass murderers, ISIS,
Well, they have
terrorists.
blood on their hand. And he arms ISIS. And not just directly, but indirectly. Indirectly with Fast and Furious, but directly with aid to the entities in the Middle East that are supporting
Right,
ISIS.
and they were saying that Obama has bombed, what was that? That's dropped 1,600 bombs. Hundreds and hundreds of bombs that have bombed troops to assist and help ISIS over there in the Middle East as well. But this is the legacy. We're talking about Obama's legacy. Washington Post, there's an article from Washington Post, says Obama is set to pardon, and this is part of that soundbite, Obama set for pardon frenzy. A Rastafarian prophet, a former Taliban captive, and thousands of minor drug traffickers have one thing all in common. Their names have been submitted to President Barack Hussein Obama for clemency before he leaves office in 2 weeks.
I want to back up a little bit here. Judicial Watch blog, Corruption Chronicles, says law enforcement sources say that gun used in Paris terrorist attacks came from Phoenix.
There you go.
Which would have also come from the Fast and Furious. So I'll just read you the first sentence of this article and you'll get the idea. One of the guns used in the November 13, 2015 Paris attacks came from Phoenix, Arizona, where the Obama administration allowed criminals to buy thousands of weapons illegally in a deadly and futile gun walking operation known as Fast and Furious. Boom. That's it.
That's it. That soundbite that we just played, she mentioned to Obama, which I'm shocked. She said, are you going to pardon former politician, former Rob Blagojevich?
Yep.
Who attempted...
I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
Right. Who attempted to sell Obama's Senate seat when he left the Senate to run for president.
That's right. That's why he's in jail.
Corrupt. And I promise you,
that needs to happen more
if
often,
he were to sell the seat and get away with it, there would have been money paid out on the back end to Obama for overlooking it.
Interesting.
Oh, and you call me whatever you want to call me. Whatever.
For him keeping his mouth shut and not raising a stink about being in prison.
He's going to pardon him.
Well, no, what I'm saying is he's going to be a multi-millionaire.
When he gets out.
This is going to be his repayment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I did this for you. And they're like, I know.
You fought the good fight, buddy.
Yeah.
All of us go to prison sooner or later.
Well, this was already, this is arranged. It's not like he's hoping for this. Right. It's probably in writing somewhere.
So the Washington Post goes on to say, some U.S. presidents have used this regal power of leniency in a pointed way near the end of their term in office. On the last day of his term in 2001, Democrat President Bill Jefferson Clinton granted pardon in a highly controversial move in the late fugitive traitor Mark Rich, whose ex-wife had been a major donor to the Democrats. Among them, and among Obama. So Bill Clinton pardoned a major donor who was in prison for fraud. But his ex-wife, ties to major money to the Democrat Party. And I'm sure there were many, many, many more that made a lot of people upset back then. But check this out. You remember our buddy Bo Bird Dog?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Bo Bird Dog, a U.S. sergeant held captive for 5 years by the Taliban.
What do you mean by captive?
That's what the Washington Post is saying. He
Oh,
was held captive.
We have proven, and I will never let them down. Anytime I see anything tweeted or anything anywhere where a Washington Post article is cited, I will always remind everybody that we proved here on Smyth Radio that they are fake news with a November 24th article.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
So Bo Bird Dog, but he was a prisoner of war. He's captured and he's facing a court-martial, though, Carrie. How could he be facing a court-martial? Because he wasn't a prisoner of war. He actually caused military members to die and gave away coordinates to the Taliban on where to strike on the military bases. And that's why he's being court-martialed. However, he came to light because Obama swapped 5 of the worst from Gitmo for Bo Dog, the traitor.
Mm-hmm.
And now Bo Dog is looking at possible pardon from the president.
Oh, my gosh. If they pardon him. Well, on what grounds? Because he's a terrorist?
I can.
Because he can't.
You don't need
Because I want to.
That's right. You don't need no grounds. You don't need no grounds to pardon.
That's true. But what does it say about his legacy when he's got a pardon? And here's the thing, too. Obama, he may have been born in America, maybe not, maybe so. We don't know, since it's been proven a couple weeks ago that we don't know. Nobody's ever seen his birth certificate, his actual birth certificate. Nobody's ever seen it. What has been displayed has been proven to be completely doctored. But anyway, we're under a 4-year occupation of either a foreign entity or a traitor. It's one or the other.
Right. Correct.
If he was born in America, we are under the leadership of a traitor.
Correct.
A traitor to the Constitution.
Right.
A traitor to America and what America was founded on.
Well, and if you look at what communism is, what he believes in, it would be to overthrow our current government. So,
yeah, I mean, turn it into a communist dictatorship.
Right. So
they are dictators. That's
attempted coup.
Well, no, I'm saying it's redundant to call it a communist dictatorship because the whole thing is a centralized power, and it ends up being.
And we're not the first to say this. I mean, Rush Limbaugh years and years ago said repeatedly, "We're under a silent coup," which we are. We have been.
Remember, I don't know if you were listening to it or not, or if you ever heard it. There was an episode when when Rush was talking about Obamacare being implemented, and he was reading what all was entailed in it, and it was shortly after Obama got elected. And I remember he was practically in tears talking about how he feels like we have been overthrown. We lost a war. And now we're going through the process of the victors over America implementing the new government.
Wow.
And now that all these years later, and I thought that was hyperbole. I thought that was a little over the top at the time. But now that I see what he's trying to do to undermine the future President Trump and to protect his treasonous, traitorous legacy, man, that really rings true now that I look back at it. I was trying not to admit that it sounded true. I was trying to say, no, that's just hyperbole. But now, in hindsight, yeah, we were taken over. We the people, we the little people, the little voters, the people with no power, came together and said, no, we are going to defeat you, and we did, and now we're going to take our country back after being occupied. It's kind of like France, I should say. France, when it was occupied by Nazi Germany.
Right.
For that short time, couple of years, that's a long time when you're actually occupied. It was probably terrible for you to be a French citizen or subject.
Couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, and you're occupied by an enemy force, and then you get it back.
Well, if you watch Humphrey Bogart's movie Casablanca, it's an interesting dichotomy that the French have. They're in Morocco, but yet the Germans are there in occupation, sort of, but the French occupy. But it's this back and forth that they do. It's a game they play, but the citizens are all under complete and utter suppression. It's just
right.
It's that heavy hand of government that you can't get out from underneath.
Yikes.
So, yeah, occupation.
We're talking about the Obama presidency here, and we're comparing it to the what we see in the occupation of a foreign entity after you get defeated in war.
Right.
And that pretty much sums it up.
So, Obama, this is breaking news, just came up on Fox News. Obama calling it Trump Care fine. The Trump Care fine. His health law will survive the GOP. And he's calling it Trump Care.
Who is?
Obama.
Obama's calling it Trump Care.
He said it'll be fine. Trump Care fine. Yeah, it'll be all right.
Wait, he likes Trump Care? He's okay with losing Obamacare?
No, he said it's not gonna lose. He said the GOP can fight it, but
he's saying that Obamacare is going to be called Trump Care.
Yeah, Obama says he's fine with changing Obamacare to Trump Care. I'm fine with that. It's going to survive.
You know what? This is kind of a stretch, but it reminds me of when Vladimir Lenin said that I don't care if 25% of the entire. I'm sorry. If something happened to where 75% of the entire human population was killed off, just as long as the other 25% were communists.
Correct.
So it's kind of a stretch, but he's pretty much saying, look, I don't care what you call it. It's as long as it's there.
It's still there. It's going to survive. It's all right.
Because it's all about communism.
Right. And so we're talking about Obama's legacy, which is up for grabs. Anybody can have it at this point.
Just as long as it's communist.
As long as it's communist.
He said, I don't care if I don't even survive any of this. He as long as wow, he puts communism above himself.
He sure does. He sure does. Well, and that's a good follower.
I don't care if you take credit for it. I don't need to take credit for it. I just need to make sure it's communist.
To implement it. Right. So some of the other things that that will haunt his legacy, if you will, suicide terrorism hits all-time record across the globe. 469 suicide bombings by 800 perpetrators in 28 countries.
Okay, so what do we think about when we think of Carter and the Carter administration?
I think of a peanut butter man. You know, the little peanut guy with the top hat and the eyeglass, the spectacle.
I'm talking about the world, not him personally, but the world as it was in the mid-70s.
He ran the thing straight in the ground.
It was only 4 years, so late 70s.
Straight in the ground, hated Jews, installed the Ayatollah Khomeini.
I always look at the late 70s as this dark time.
Yeah, he helped to promote Islam.
I mean, the colors were dark. The styles were dark.
Oh, clouds over L.A. were dark.
Everything was so dark. Nobody had money. Everybody was poor. If you look at pictures from back then,
the majority of people use leaded fuel.
Incandescent bulbs, but not very many of them.
No, and the
wallpaper.
Well, wood paneled wall.
Yeah, well, that goes back further. I mean, you go back to the early 60s and the 50s, everything was bright. Everything was happy. Everybody has good memories of the 50s and all this kind of stuff. And even the early 60s. You get to the 70s when here's my point.
They used asbestos brake pads.
they use asbestos
insulation, whatever.
Asbestos filters for your mouth.
It wasn't carbon, it was asbestos.
Anyway, yeah, asbestos nose blocks. Okay, so anyway, here's my point. 10, 15, 20 years from now, people are going to be like, what do you remember from back in the 2000s, late 2000s, and the early teens? I'm like, oh my God, I could just see it now. It's going to be remembered as this depressing, dark time where, and you remember in the 60s, late 60s, there were lots of civil unrest.
Oh yeah,
lots of there was assassinations, there were these riotings and all this stuff. I'm telling you, when they look back at the kind of not only the civil unrest of like the Black Lives Matters movements, they may even look back and believe that there was some racism coming from whites. There certainly should, if truth is going to be in the history books, right, you're going to see a lot of talk about racism from blacks and other minority groups, and specifically from Black Lives Matters and all this kind of stuff. But then you also look at just the other violence. Look at the massacre in Dallas of Black Lives Matters inspired killers killing cops, terrorists, the mass shootings. And when all this is said and done, that's what his legacy is going to be. Is that it's just this vague memory, this hazy memory of a really dark, depressing, impoverish-ridden time. And
I think the snowflakes are going to amplify that dark and
interesting
and time, and it's going to be projected onto Obama in the future. But the snowflakes are saying that Trump is the dark time.
They'll be like, remember when he got elected?
And we'll be like, yeah, can you believe it? All the things he did.
Time magazine's cover, the divided states of America, the president of the divided states of America. Here's the thing.
They slipped.
Revisionist historians, though, are going to say, you see, the divided states is all about Trump. No.
He wasn't even elected yet.
Right. He took over the divide. We are very divided.
Right.
People that I grew up with in grade school, we follow each other on Facebook, and they're black, and I'm white. And you see some of the stuff that they post that's just, they're outraged by what they perceive as racism. And then I'm outraged by their perception of racism that comes from the lying, fake MSM media, mainstream media, news networks and all this. And then I try to correct him, and I'm like, dude, where's all this division coming from? And it's coming from the Democrat-controlled media. And how do we know they're Democrat? This is not conspiracy theories. WikiLeaks proved it.
100%. It's fact.
They are the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party. And I improperly associated Black Lives Matters as the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party. Sorry if you read that on Twitter today. What I meant to say was they are the terrorist arm of the Democrat Party.
Yes, inciting terror.
Right.
Okay.
They're not a black advocacy group. They are a terrorist organization.
Right.
And the mainstream media, which is the propaganda arm of the entire Democrat Party, including Black Lives Matter's terrorist organization, they put out the fake news that they are that they aren't responsible for these kinds of attacks. So we talk about what happened in Chicago, or we're going to wrap up?
Yeah, just wrapping up his legacy. The whole show's about his legacy.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
Absolutely.
bad that we're talking about this week,
it's all on Obama.
It's all on him. 12 days till Trump takes office, by the way. Since his election in 2008, the Democrats have lost 11 Senate seats, 60 House seats, 14 governorships, and 900 state legislative seats, the worst loss since 1922 of any political party.
Any political party.
Right.
Wow, that's that sounds good for us.
I'm telling you, folks.
The cool thing is, though, Trump is not going to let it go to waste. If you look at 2010 and you look at 2014, you had voters like the Trump supporters. Trump supporters were around back then voting, and they gave us the huge gains in 2010 for the for conservatives. and 2014 for conservatives.
So that we could control the House and the Senate and take it away from Obama stealing everything.
Well, first of all, they were put there to stop the communists.
Correct.
They did not do that. But they were also put there to implement real conservative measures. Let me tell you something right now.
And they didn't.
Going a little bit back to the Planned Parenthood thing, I'm telling you, man, I'm starting to feel that America is waking up. The same way that America woke up in the 1850s about abolition.
Oh, yes.
You know, and they started to realize that they are anybody saying, well, you know what? I don't need to own slaves. But I'm not going to tell other people not to own human beings.
Who am I to tell you what to do?
Right. I don't agree with it. And that's why I'm not going to go out and buy some slaves myself.
I got a brother-in-law. Man, he's nice to his. I mean, you know, so, why am I mad?
Right. And so what happened is at some point actually it was probably Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was written back then, that just woke people up and said, whoa, you are not a true Christian. You're not on the side of morality if you even allow other human beings to own human beings.
Correct.
And then that slowly but surely led to the abolition of slavery, which is a very good thing. I'm kind of feeling that with the abolition of the infanticide, the American Holocaust, which is abortion.
They're saying that this generation right now of kids are absolutely against it.
That's cool.
Yeah, this
so
generation
cool.
is just, they're appalled by the notion that you would rip a baby. And
I'm really happy to hear that.
Did it not resonate from the third debate?
Yeah.
Where Trump literally said, you're ripping that baby out of the mother's womb.
And you know what? When he said that, I cheered it, even though
It made me nervous.
Okay, but here's the thing. For some reason, I don't know why, maybe I was feeling it early. I didn't say, no, shh, don't say that. You're going to lose a lot of support from a little bit of the more moderates. You don't want to lose the moderates.
You'll lose those Democrats that are voting for you. You might lose them.
Or just moderates. Yeah. Moderate Republicans that are like, hey, I wouldn't have an abortion myself. Or some of them are just like, hey, it's a woman's right. It's her body. Seriously, there's a lot of Republicans, a lot of moderate Republicans out there. They're like, hey, abortion is abortion, whatever, but you know what? It's a woman's choice. You know, that they'll say that.
Right.
I actually didn't get that nervous at all. I was actually cheering it on. I was like, yeah, that's right. Meanwhile, Hillary was cracking up laughing in real time. Right then and there, she had this look on her face, and later on, it was parodied by Saturday Night Live by them saying, I just won this election.
Oh,
you remember that?
Oh, they played it off. The reason why she was laughing is because she's laughing she won the election.
She actually thought by him bringing up abortion in the way that he did that it was over.
It was over, right.
That all the moderate Republicans and all the moderate and all the ones that are pro-choice, pro-abortion, pro-murder of babies and all that, we're going to be like, oh my God, I was going to vote for Trump for his economic policies and this, that, and the other thing. But he's going to take away a woman's right to rip her baby up and chop it up into pieces. Oh, hell no.
Well, in the way that he said it, too.
It was like, it made you nervous.
It was.
And it would have made me nervous in the past, but you know what? I was fed up at that point.
Dude, my kids were sitting with me.
Interesting.
And it was weird because
I was in the car. I was listening to the debate in the car.
Okay. And it was just, I don't know. And but
in the past, though, I would have said, no, shut up. No, don't say that. You can believe it, but just don't say it. Because even people like George W. Bush would have been like, well, you know, I don't know. Maybe he did actually make a statement. What they were told, what the establishment Republicans were told for decades was, if you're asked about abortion, you better pivot the hell away from it. You don't answer no questions. You don't speak your mind. You don't give an opinion. You just get the hell away from it. And that's what we've been told for years. It was just totally, you don't talk about it.
Right.
And Trump is he is the most pro-choice candidate that we've definitely in my lifetime I've ever had. Definitely in my entire lifetime, this most pro-life candidate we've ever had.
I think I've got the soundbite of that debate clip.
To account.
Mr. Trump, your reaction, and particularly on this issue of late-term partial birth
Well,
abortion.
I think it's terrible. If you go with what Hillary is saying, in the 9th month, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb of the mother just prior to the birth of the baby. Now, you can say that that's okay, and Hillary can say that that's okay, but it's not okay with me. Because based on what she's saying and based on where she's going and where she's been, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month on the final day. And that's not acceptable.
Well, that is not what happens in these cases. And using that kind of scare rhetoric is just terribly unfortunate.
What do you mean
You
scare
should meet
rhetoric?
with some of the women that I've met with, women I've known over the course of my life.
We have a moratorium on that hag, that wretched old hag. We got a moratorium on her. We're not allowed to play sound bites from her, Mr.
Did
Producer.
we just get in trouble?
But listen to that, though. He said it twice. That's why it pulled me in when he said it.
He said, just in case you misheard me, let me go ahead and repeat it.
Let me reiterate that the ripping of the baby from the mother's
Up to the
womb.
last day, that's unacceptable.
Well, this fear-mongering from Trump.
I don't. What? That's almost like
you need.
Did you even hear what he just said?
You need to meet the women I've met that have had rippings. And
he said
that's what she's saying.
He said based on the things that she's done or something. I'm like, what? Did she have abortions? I'm sure she did when she was younger.
Well, I mean,
but I don't want to be accused of fake news. I'm just saying, I'm sure she probably did.
Well, I mean, if you want to go liberal Democrats, I mean, Lena Dunham just came out and said, I wish that I was able to have an abortion.
Oh, my God. She got destroyed for that, and rightfully so.
She called it a rite of passage as a woman.
Every woman should have one.
Yikes. So, real quick, this was breaking news on Fox as well. This just popped up. Remember how Trump was bringing jobs back from Mexico?
Right, like the Ford factory or Carrier and all that stuff.
Ford, Carrier, and a bunch of other companies. He was in a spat back and forth with Toyota. Toyota is moving. And Toyota made the comment that, we're moving, we're going to make this happen. Trump came back, and this all goes in line with the Republican politicians that we hated in the past. Trump came back and said, okay, you will move there? You're going to pay the tax. You're going to pay the tax to come back. No problem, Toyota. Good for you. And now this breaking news, Chrysler Fiat, I don't know what you were thinking. Mercedes-Benz literally almost lost their entire company from buying Chrysler. Had to dump it and run from them.
So now Fiat owns them.
Fiat, huge Fiat in Europe. So it's Chrysler Fiat to revamp 2 plants in America, $1 billion.
Okay. They're making plants in America?
In America. To revamp 2 major plants for production of $1 billion of revamping the plants. I mean, you want to talk about this dark age we're coming out of? This is the light that we're moving toward.
You're going to create smog.
Right? So, we're in Chicago. There's murder and mayhem everywhere. And I'm just a white guy walking down the street. I've got some special needs. What might happen to you in Chicago?
Well, I mean, you don't want to walk down a dark alley or anything, but apparently somebody that he knew, possibly somebody he may have even trusted, a friend, said, get over here, come with me or whatever, got him in his vehicle and drove him to either his apartment or a friend's apartment.
We're talking about the incident that went down Wednesday?
Well, the thing is that they said it was as long as a 48-hour ordeal.
Yeah.
So they kidnapped this guy, and they were holding him against his will, clearly.
And he was a special needs individual.
Right. And how did everybody find out about this? This could have never been found out about.
Well, the one chick who is a crack-smoking girl, they're all like 18, 19, 20, like right around that age?
They were all 18 except for one was 24.
Okay, all right.
All of them
That's
were
why I
18.
was feeling
the victim was 18. 3 of the perps were 18, and then one woman was 24.
Okay, there's 2 women and 2 men, black, and the one special needs individual, white guy. And I make that a point because they made it a point in a selfie video live Facebook feed.
Exactly.
That lasted 31 minutes.
Holy man. So the clips I saw were just edited chunks of it.
Yeah, I downloaded
I didn't listen or what. I'm going to be honest with you folks.
I couldn't. You couldn't.
I couldn't.
You couldn't.
I saw the clip of the guy cutting a chunk of his scalp off of his head down to the bone. And after I saw that, I said, I can't watch this. And I also heard the clip of them screaming, F white people, F Trump, blah, blah. And I also saw a little clip of them forcing him to drink dirty toilet water. And so grand total of maybe 60 seconds of video.
And I have to say,
I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to watch the 31 minutes. I'm not going to rewatch any of that crap. In fact, every time I see the clip of him reaching in with his knife to cut a chunk of his head off, I immediately turn it off because I'm like, I can't believe a human being can do that to another human being.
American citizen. In America, someone living in America. Okay, in the Middle East and you're Muslims, they do that stuff in the Middle East.
We've seen some video that you could never show like a kid or anything.
To testify, though, you have an ability to compartmentalize of sorts. You can stomach things
sometimes. Okay,
in the past that I couldn't.
Right, I can force my way through it, but by the end of it, I have that same feeling that you get when you try to read a book in a car that somebody else is driving poorly.
Yeah, I get that feeling too.
But that's I can disguise that though. I can act like it didn't happen. But
just go
still have that feeling.
Yeah, go get a peanut butter jelly sandwich and some milk and you'll be all right.
Right. But I get that feeling but I'm just saying that I don't completely compartmentalize it.
Okay. All right. Well, you faked me out over the years. I thought you had this.
I wasn't totally callous about being able to watch that stuff. But
the beheadings are definitely
the worst. You know what gets me worse than the beheadings? Like when I watch a beheading, I'm talking like with a big sword.
Right.
To me that it's not as bad as like watching somebody kneeling there and they put the gun, little handgun to the back of their head and they're blindfolded, and when they pull that trigger and that guy's gone. There's something really sickening about that. I really don't like to see that.
What if you think about it, his soul is gone too as well.
Yeah, that's pretty sickening. I don't like seeing that.
So, but these feelings that we're talking about are all in line with went down. This dude was captured.
Yeah, they even put like duct tape around his mouth or something. Yeah,
and roped him for 24 hours.
And he was all curled up in a corner, like that scene from whatever movie where they were crying in the shower.
I know Jim Carrey did a fake scene like that, but
they were parodying something.
He was parodying a scene.
But this was real life, and this guy was all huddled, like hunched down, like please, almost like like an animal. They're treating this guy like an animal.
And you could just tell that all he wanted was this to be over with.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted.
It's too hard to watch.
So she puts it up on Facebook. She's laughing and smoking and joking. And
they were having a good old time.
Oh, they were having a massive party around this kid. Puts it up live on, if you don't know, excuse me. If you don't know, Facebook has a similar thing that Periscope does.
Yeah, they just did that. They pretty much copied off of Periscope.
Right. So
now, Twitter bought Periscope.
Oh, so that's why Twitter and Periscope are pretty much linked together.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing.
So Facebook, you can Periscope yourself on Facebook if you wish, and that's what this girl did. And it stayed up for a very long time because... Was it Joe Pollack? No. Gateway Pundit
Yeah, Jim Hoft.
Jim Hoft wrote about it and put the links of her, who she was, the Facebook. When I went to Facebook, I typed in her first name and Chicago popped up. Her name and Chicago popped up. And I was like, okay, fine. And then she immediately popped up. So she was trending.
Oh, certainly.
On Facebook.
Certainly.
Other people ripped her video down and reposted it.
Yeah, because they knew that wasn't going to last. They knew it was going to be censored. People download that kind of stuff instantly. And by the way, I guess LiveLeak, I think, has it up there uncensored because I was watching Philip DeFranco, who, by the way, is slowly but surely getting further and further and further to the right, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. He used to be a dumb liberal, man. Really dumb. But I think he's a Trump supporter. He won't admit it. He won't say it. I think he's a Trump supporter. But anyway.
Not yet. I'll give him time.
No, I think he's not out of the closet yet. He's a Trump supporter that's not out of the closet yet. Okay. Anyway, he came out and really was saying, this is terrible, this is horrible, I can't believe people. And he said, by the way, a LiveLeak link to that is in the description below. And I was like, wow. So he wants people to know the truth by seeing it for themselves. So so the pop culture is going to see this and be disgusted by it. He is. I like that he's. I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here. I like that he's going to the right because he is what low information voters get their information from. And so for him to start to slide to the right a little bit is really good because millennials watch him. Millennials, he comes out with a video like 2 or 3 or 4 times a week. And millennials watch him for their news. And for him to start going to the right, I think is just great. Because it tells me that the generations younger than us are going to start to receive more truth than fake stuff.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. So when we go,
we're
still talking about.
Yeah, we're not going to leave this kidnapping thing because I want to make a very important connection between that and Black Lives Matters. But anyway,
there's a guy who claims to be. I don't know. He gets paid on CNN to talk.
Okay, they call them actors.
Okay, Don Lemon, the method actor.
Yep,
Don Lemon. There's a bite. You can find it on YouTube. I'm not going to play it, but Don Lemon and Simone Sanders victim blame and refuse to call Chicago kidnappers the whole incident a hate crime.
Oh my gosh! Can you believe
Don
that?
Lemon came out right away and said this is not a hate crime. The police department, the Chicago PD, was not going to call this a hate crime.
They want to do more investigation.
I follow Laura Ingraham on Twitter, and Laura Ingraham, oh my goodness, she posted this up right away, and I commented on it with a retweet, and I actually posted 3 seconds of the video of the kid being cut. And the reason why I posted 3 seconds is because I didn't want to get into it. And if I post a small video really, really quick, I get my point across, and I don't. And I can
get banned.
Well, and I don't get banned, and I can also rise to be at the top, be one of the first people to respond to her. So it was a very valid point. But the whole thing was CNN, Chicago Police Department. Everybody was like, "No, this isn't a hate crime. This isn't a hate crime." Talking about, it's just some perps and a victim, pretty much. And that was destroyed, absolutely destroyed because of the video. The 31-minute video absolutely destroys CNN, Don Lemon, PD, Chicago, all of it.
Well, because when they say stuff like it's alleged or we're not sure yet, or guys, we have the video. It's almost as if a crime happens or anything happens, and you have to hear from the news what happened, and they're not sure because they weren't at the scene. They'll tell you, well, the investigation's ongoing. Now, what if this incident that happened, let's say it was a shooting, you were present for it and you saw it live in real time, in reality, and you saw the actual incident, you wouldn't need to talk about alleged anything. You wouldn't need to talk about investigation anything.
Right.
Because you're a first-hand witness. Well, guess what? Thanks to the 31-minute live video that was recorded and captured for anybody to see, we all get to be first-hand witnesses. And as first-hand witnesses, we don't need to tell you, or we don't need you to tell us whether or not your investigation finds whether or not it's a hate crime.
Right.
Because we know, based on what we saw in the video, that this was motivated by the fact that they don't like white people.
Ebony on CNN, not a hate crime to kill white people.
Yikes.
That's a contributor on CNN. Ebony, her name, they call her Ebony.
Okay.
Not a hate crime to kill white people.
Wow. See, that's why. That's why there's division. That's why there's hatred. That's why there's racism. Because it works. It's supposed to work both ways, every way, for all races, and it doesn't. There's a double standard that it's people, racists like Ebony, like to exploit. They like to enjoy the privilege of not being held to the same standard as her opposition race in her mind, I guess.
Anderson Cooper,
Yeah.
thinks the kidnapping was due to mental disability.
Due to the victim's mental disability?
Yeah, it was just might have been his own fault.
It's his fault.
Somehow it might be.
Blame the victim.
Is it?
Wow.
Isn't that what the Clintons did? Isn't that what Hillary did? Hillary always blamed the victims. It was always the victims' fault. Well, she didn't call them victims. They were, hooers and whatever, just disgusting. I mean, she called us deplorable, and we're victims of her and Obama.
Right. Now, all of a sudden, we're the bad guy because we're reacting to her abuse.
Right. So Joe B Pollack, Joe Pollack, at Joe Pollack, you can follow him on Twitter. He writes for Breitbart. This is just the title piece that he wrote about this. He said, next week, President Obama will travel to Chicago to deliver a farewell address. Though Obama built his political career there, it is a strange setting for valediction. No place better represents Obama's failure as president than Chicago, which has suffered mightily on his watch. More people were murdered in Chicago last year than New York, Los Angeles combined, and this week's live stream torture of a disabled white teenager is a reflection of the sad state of race relations. That's Joe Pollack.
Yeah. So what he's doing there, he's making the connection between what these individuals did and Black Lives Matters. Because here's what the argument is on the left. There's nowhere in that entire 31-minute video where they admit that they even follow or agree with or even know anything about Black Lives Matters. And Black Lives Matters, the organization, has come out and said, we condemn these acts. We have nothing to do with it. We didn't order them to do it. As far as we know, they don't know anything about us. They're not a member of us. They don't support us. So clearly, this has nothing to do with Black Lives Matters. And for you to make the connection that this is a Black Lives Matters inspired kidnapping is obviously your own racist agenda. And I'm like, whoa, stop, hold the horses right now. Black Lives Matters is founded on lies from the first two big racist incidences that happened under the Obama administration. One was the Trayvon Martin case.
Yeah, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon.
The Black Lives Matters thing was that, I guess, founded on the Trayvon Martin case. That's where Black Lives Matter started.
By George Soros and Kellogg's.
Right. So George Soros decided we need to create an organization where we can take incidences like what happened with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, and turn it into a race war.
Kellogg's donated $1 million to Black Lives Matter.
Well, Kellogg's, in their defense, may just be ignorant. But I'm still going to boycott them.
Right. They're hating on...
Lucky Charms is General Mills, and I like it enough that I don't need Kellogg's anymore.
Dude, Lucky Charms, knock it out of the park.
Right, and so they're General Mills, and so Kellogg's can go to hell. So anyway, so Black Lives Matters is founded on the Trayvon Martin case, and that case was full of lies spread by the mainstream media, the fake stream media, it's just fake media, fake news. And Black Lives Matters was tasked by George Soros to capitalize on the lies to sow division and hate and violence through Black Lives Matters, which turns out, what we found out years later, is just a terrorist arm of the Democrat Party.
Right.
Fast forward to the Michael Brown case, which was Ferguson, which is St. Louis, Missouri. That was hands up, don't shoot.
And people bought T-shirts and supported racist.
The NFL players were wearing hands up, don't shoot. They were coming out of the hole before the games, coming out of the locker room with their hands up in solidarity with the black victims of police violence, which is they were all inspired by Michael Brown, who they believed had his hands up and said, don't shoot, and was killed by getting shot in the back with his hands up, screaming, don't shoot. Which was all said by the mainstream media. It's all been proven false, and once it was proven false, they never retracted all of their claims, and in many cases, kept repeating the lies that they knew were false. Now, what happens? You got Black Lives Matters, who why would an organization that's supposed to be professional keep on telling their marchers at these marches, Black Lives Matters marches, to do chants that are based on lies? They would march through cities with their hands up, screaming, hands up, don't shoot. They would sell T-shirts that said, hands up, don't shoot. And, the I Can't Breathe T-shirts and all that. All these things are complete bold-faced lies. The fact they tried to spread, the lie they tried to spread that George Zimmerman was a racist against blacks because he said that Trayvon Martin looks like he's black was an actual doctored audio from CNN. CNN doctored the audio. They had to come out and apologize for doctoring an audio of Zimmerman, who was on the phone with 911, saying that he was black. They cut out the part where he was asked by 911 whether or not, what ethnicity he thought Trayvon Martin was. And he said, looks like he's black. Well, they cut out the question. Right. And by cutting out the question, it made it sound like George Zimmerman said that he looked black without being prompted, which to anybody listening would be like, wow, it sounds like this guy George Zimmerman's a racist. And they did that by design, and it's a lie.
And when they called him a white Mexican, white Hispanic.
White Hispanic, yeah.
Everybody in L.A. absolutely revolted against that. How dare you mix those two together? It's impossible.
It's impossible. Okay, so whether or not he has any white in him or not, he said he was Hispanic. And they wanted to say, well, you know what? We need you to be white. So if you really demand to be Hispanic, we're going to have to call you white Hispanic.
Right. And if you are an avid...
The point was, I want to say this. So after, didn't mean to interrupt you, Brian, but I just want to get this out because it's so important. The connection between this kidnapping and this stuff going on with George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and all the other race-baiting stories that the mainstream media lies about and then sends Black Lives Matters out to do protests about and marches about.
Obama tells them to go there too. Yeah. Obama comes out and says, hey, look here.
These 18-year-olds were young teenagers when this stuff was coming out, like preteens.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're 18.
They're 18 now.
They were 10 when he was elected.
He was 10, and then the Trayvon Martin case, and then
12, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, they're like tweens.
Right.
These people were tweens. These people were coming of age at the very time that they're being told in all the mainstream media outlets that white people are going around randomly murdering innocent, unarmed black people.
Correct. Correct. This is what Obama has wrought.
As far as they know, they are coming of age in the middle of a race war.
They believe that they are in a race war because he has perpetuated that for 8 years.
So thanks to Obama, thanks to the fake mainstream media, and thanks to Black Lives Matters, these people just thought that they were engaged in fighting in the fight that they were told we were in.
Right. Right. No, absolutely. And I was going to say,
I'm not saying that they shouldn't be at fault for this, but for you to sit there and say that this has nothing to do with Black Lives Matters is not just up for debate, or not just not up for debate, but it's a bold-faced lie for you to make that assertion. It has everything to do with Black Lives Matters.
If you're an avid YouTube video watcher and you want to watch certain YouTube videos, if you go to smithradio.com, you can see where we've posted Bill Whittle, Whittle, Bill Whittle from Firewall and the Truth Revolution Originals on YouTube has his videos up where he talks about Trayvon Martin and absolutely destroys and informs you of the drugs that Trayvon Martin was on, literally.
Yeah, he bought some, what was it, Skittles and
Skittles,
whatever he bought.
Arizona iced tea.
That's right. Well, but it turns out that the things that he bought that seemed so benign and so innocent,
cough syrup,
turns out were ingredients to some sort of homemade cocktail that kids could make that get you high. But anyway.
Yeah, called lean. But anyways, watch Bill Whittle. He's got a lot of great information on the backstory and the back scenes. Hands up, don't shoot. I mean, this stuff is out there. These are people that you need to follow, as well as us. And the things that we talk about are absolutely in line with guys like Bill Whittle. So,
yeah, how in the world are we not going to point out the obvious connection of Black Lives Matters to this Chicago kidnapping when, if you listen to us every week for a long time, you heard us rightfully blame the mainstream media and Black Lives Matters for having blood on their hands for the massacre in Dallas, where well, they claim it was one black armed man, but we point out in our show, if you go back to that there's no way it was one person. This was a group of people,
right? That
they end up blowing up. Interesting that they had a former army black man blown up after massacring.
Because
that makes you wonder.
That's what you have to do. You have to kill the.
You have to blow them up.
You got to blow them up. Nowhere. I think they even talked about that
before.
Nowhere in American history has unless
law enforcement. Law enforcement has never blown somebody up.
I mean, they burned Waco, Texas down.
Oh, that's right.
But the Branch Davidian, they burned them down. But that was Hillary Clinton and Valerie Jarrett, who, ironically, Valerie Jarrett,
Janet Reno.
Oh, Janet Reno. Sorry.
She actually walked in there with the flamethrower on her back.
Now, Janet Reno, she died, right? I think Janet Reno's dead.
Did she? Did Janet Reno die?
And then
somebody look that up.
The Star Wars girl that just died.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Princess Leia. Carrie Fisher.
Okay. Did you? Ironically, just on a side note, both of them said Trump will not be president in my lifetime.
Interesting. Whoa, that's kind of scary. She did die in November 7th, 2016, which is interesting. That was like a couple weeks ago.
I thought so. Janet Reno?
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because I saw a montage of everybody that died in 2016. Some of them I forgot about. Well, it turns out Janet Reno was not mentioned. I'm just saying that that's her legacy. Nobody even remembered that she died. She has no legacy.
She burnt down a Branch Davidian. God bless her.
Yeah. Anyway.
So,
by the way, I know this is controversial. I don't even like saying this because I don't really agree with this 100% at all. Not even close to 100%. But you could make the argument that she's responsible or partially responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing because she created Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah.
As a government official, you should when you make a mistake and it kills a lot of people, hundreds of people, there's going to be some residual more bad side effects down the road. And had she not made the mistake of murdering a whole bunch of innocent Americans for practicing their constitutional beliefs, constitutionally protected beliefs, then she would not have made some people mad that ended up lashing out. And they were wrong in doing so. But I'm saying that, there's cause and effect,
Actions have consequences.
It's like the butterfly flaps its wings in Minnesota and Hurricane Sandy gets Barack Obama reelected.
The hug heard round the world.
Anyway.
So Sam says that the city officials played a big role in the Dallas ordeal.
Who did?
City officials.
Oh, city officials.
Played a big role in the Dallas ordeal.
What role?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Other than the big role of blowing him up, playing that role and going ahead and green lighting.
I have too much respect for cops to believe that Dallas cops were so keystone cops. So keystone.
Right. I don't believe that.
They could allow this guy to run around and murder that many cops. He definitely had a small army of accomplices.
We talked about that.
Absolutely. There's no way. When
the video that we played with the gunfire, there were multiple guns.
Yeah, and cops die. Cops get killed, by perpetrators of they get ambushed and they get killed. That happens a lot. And God rest their soul. And it's a real shame that for anybody in law enforcement to have to face that on a daily basis. On a daily basis, it could be your last day. But they're usually by themselves. They're ambushed. This guy was waltzing around. They expect me to believe. They expect me to believe this guy was just walking around. There's this small clip of a cop getting ambushed. Many minutes after this thing was going down. There were already dead cops. And there was video of him rushing a cop, killing him. Total BS. This guy had cover fire. No doubt in my mind this guy had cover fire. That's the only way he could pull off that many murders of that many cops.
Okay, Sam's saying that...
a little bit of malfunction here in the...
Sam's saying that about the permit. I forgot about that. They weren't given a permit to protest. He's saying city officials broke rules just because of the Department of Justice and BLM. Black Lives Matters. So...
Okay.
Yeah. Same being, maybe. I don't know.
You got permits for
the march for the Black Lives Matter.
Oh, that's right. They gave them permits, or they did not give them permits and allowed them to march anyway. One or the other.
Right, and they were supposed to tell them where they were going to march at, and they didn't.
They just marched wherever the hell they wanted to.
I remember that. Yeah. It was it's an absolute debacle by the officials. That was a mess. That was part of the mess.
Yeah.
However, I think the militants took advantage of. I'm not saying they set it up, but they took advantage of a situation that was not orchestrated properly.
Yeah, and it was during March.
They're saying no permit. Sam's saying no permit.
So they didn't have a permit, but they let them march anyway because that's just a part of black privilege. That's just a phenomenon. It's just truth.
Right.
Every time I hear somebody talk about white privilege, I'm like, dude, white privilege is totally trumped by black privilege.
Oh, without a doubt.
All you have to do, if you start marching and you're a member of, or you're a group that are members of Black Lives Matters, and you're doing a formal protest, and you did not get a permit, and it's necessary to have a permit.
Right.
Black privilege allows you to say, whoa. You're telling me that you are not going to allow us to exercise our freedom of assembly and protest and all that and speech because we're black.
Right.
And you know what they'll do? They back down. They will never enforce anything like that, similar to that, if you're black. Now, if you're white, bringing in the paddy wagons. So that's just a part of black privilege. I don't know why black privilege does not roll off my tongue very easily.
They don't want it to.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, so there's a comedian out there by the name of Luther, and he did this. I don't know if you've seen this, but he did this Angry Obama Translator.
Oh, interesting.
So I've watched it, and I've seen it, and he was on Comedy Central, and they were he's a black guy, and the Comedy Central has a new black host, and they were railing against Trump, thought it was funny, and giving him props for his angry translator. So what it is, Obama speaks, which is an actor, who really is an actor. I mean, Obama is an actor.
Right.
But this guy's an actor playing Obama, and the one that sounds like a nut job, that is the angry translator. Take it to mean that when Obama speaks, this guy screams what Obama's really thinking.
Okay.
And so this is the sound, but I just...
Is it like Drinking with Bob? He was always angry. Remember him?
It's
I don't know whatever happened to him, by the way. But anyway, go ahead.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. You remember my anger translator, Luther.
Why, hello.
Now, I've told Luther that he can join me for this last address, but that his being on his very best behavior is crucial to healing the divide in this country.
Keep it chill, Luther. Go against every natural instinct in your body.
Since we last spoke, the country has voted for a new president.
He's making an angry face.
Here we go.
Oh, man, come on, really? Let's talk about the Trump. How did this happen, man? Get the Y'all gonna go to the dude that's gonna make America hate again? Don't you understand? This is how the Hunger Games starts.
It's true. We all have to accept that we're going to have someone else calling the shots.
Vladimir Putin.
Oh,
we got a naked Ruski on horseback gonna be running the show. Placebo, Russian motherfuckers.
It was a close election, but the people have spoken.
Yeah, they voted for Hillary Clinton, but then this outdated electoral college mumbo jumbo voodoo bull.
See, this is the hate I'm talking about. This is what perpetuates kids, children, tweens.
What show does this come on?
This was on a Comedy Central skit, but I don't think he has a show anymore, though.
Okay.
And it's more imperative than ever that we move on as a country united.
United in the fact that we can't stand each other.
Even as the country adopts new policies on trade, immigration.
New policy. The only good immigrant is a smoking hot white one.
Who plagiarizes speeches.
Ooh. What? I said, bitch.
Now, I have greatly enjoyed my time as your president.
Except when, let me think about it. When the Republicans wouldn't let me do and then that one dude said I wasn't born here, and then y'all elected him. So you know what? Didn't love that part so much. So pretty much the beginning, middle, and the end sucked.
Okay, so there's a lie right there.
I have met with President-elect Trump.
So it's important that I point this out and that you guys recognize this. He actually said a complete fabrication there. He said that the guy that said I wasn't born here.
Right.
By asking Obama to produce a birth certificate is not saying that you were not born here. It's saying that it is a requirement, so you should at least have to prove that constitutionally, and it never was done. To this day, it has never been done that Obama has been proven to be eligible to be president of the United States. It's not saying that he was born somewhere else. So by him saying that, he's lying to everybody listening to him. All of his fans are like, ha, 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 that's true. It's so true. No, it's actually a lie.
Who actually originally came up with the talking points of the birther movement?
Who came up with the talking points?
Well, the birther movement. Who started the birth certificate?
I can't remember.
Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Oh, that's right.
Back in 2008, yeah.
Yeah, because they wanted to sow doubt into whether or not he's eligible.
Right.
During
I
the
pledge
primary.
my support in his transition.
He doesn't even want the job, y'all. I saw it in his eyes. The dude was shook. The only reason he ran is because his factory in China made too many red hats. It's the only...
That's actually kind of funny. That's kind of funny.
I assure you.
Isn't that kind of funny?
And you should have seen the guy's face. His legs are in the air. He's flailing, his arms in the air. And right after that high-pitched screech, he runs all the way up to the camera and slowly dips down under the camera.
Okay,
away.
and by the way, it's also a lie. The truth of the matter is, and Trump's not a moron, you can't run for president of the United States and have hats made in China as your main thing, your thing. His hats are made in America. Here's the problem, though. Actually, Brian has an authentic one, and there's a big American flag. So not a big, it's a little fabric tag, but it's an American flag. Here's the thing: it's a simple little hat. Anybody can rip it off. And that's what happened. There were millions of Make America Great Again ripoffs, knockoffs, whatever. And every one of them were made in China. Why? Because that's where fabric is made. The hats that Trump made, which were made in the United States, were overly expensive for him.
Oh yeah. Not only that, but the hat that I'm wearing was $32.
Okay,
for the ball cap.
So very expensive. And also, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. This is a little anecdotal story I heard about those hats. I believe it was at a Trump rally early on that he was talking about this, I believe. It was not easy to even find a factory that made hats in America. He actually had to search the country high and low to find the company to make them. He may have even needed to ask somebody to tool up to make the hats. And my point is that if you're going to make a rip-off hat, it's coming from China. But it's not from the Trump campaign. So for him to say that or suggest that they were is a lie. Okay, but it was a very funny joke to suggest that the only reason he ran for president is because a company that he owns in China made too many red hats and he had to get rid of them somehow. I know, let's run for president and we'll just give these hats away or whatever. That's actually kind of funny.
It is.
Even though it's not completely fabricated, but it's funny.
That if he succeeds, we all succeed.
Unless he succeeds with all the he promised to succeed with, in that case, we're f***ed.
Why? Why is building a wall across our southern border make us effed?
If he succeeds in all that he promises to do, then we're effed.
I think we believe that's called making America great again. Maybe because their agenda is to destroy America and destroy the borders worldwide, not just America. So first you need to destroy America, then you get rid of the borders, then you get rid of the borders everywhere. You end up with no America. So that's your choice, and we made the right choice. The choice is to make America great again, make America strong again, make America secure again, or the choice was destroy America, and not just the physical America, but also the Constitution.
Now, a time-cherished tradition is that the outgoing...
Don't say outgoing, don't say outgoing. La 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 say Mumaku's up.
That's me. Leaves the incoming president a little note in the desk of the Oval Office. Of course, it's completely confidential.
Go f*** yourself.
Until now.
Oh. That's my bad.
To all of you out there who are afraid that your way of life is under attack, remember that progress isn't always a straight line.
No, because
wow. So he said your way of life, and then his very next word was progress. So what he's talking about is progressivism, which is communism, and he's saying that if you feel like your way of life is being destroyed, he's talking about
threatened.
You say threatened?
Yeah, threatened. Yeah,
he's talking about this is the dog whistle for all you communists out there. You may feel like your ideology of communism is being threatened, but he doesn't use the word communism. He doesn't even use the word progressive. He just says progress, which is a complete 180 degrees opposite of what it really is, which is just a centralized form of getting all the power in the hands of people like him.
Right.
Sometimes it's a line that goes like this. It goes, and it just goes straight down for 4 years.
Stay strong and never stop standing up for what you believe in.
Yes, I would like to book a 4-year stay for 5 at the Ice Hotel in Sweden, please.
Sorry, 5?
For Bo.
Sweden's
y'all
communist,
going to take Bo. Make it 6.
In summation, thanks, America. It's been real. It's been good. But it ain't been real good.
Apparently, orange is the new black. Good luck with your health care, assholes. I'm out.
Peace.
Oh boy, your new health care. What do you think Obamacare's been? A complete disaster.
Sam agrees with you 100% on the progressive progress thing. He said the same thing Hitler used to say, progress.
I totally believe that. Totally believe that.
Why would yeah, no, 100%. This healthcare thing, they're shaking in their boots. And when I say they, I mean the Democrats, the liberals. And that's why Obama is staying in D.C.
What?
To help stop. And he even said in that soundbite, his last, my legacy, I'm going to stay here in D.C. I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to stay here in D.C. because I got to protect my legacy and make sure Trump doesn't tarnish it. When in reality, it's him that has tarnished it. It's what a nightmare. What an absolute and utter nightmare. And then I had some information. I don't know how you want to transition on this, but I wanted to touch on a Russian hacking here this week. There's a couple of new developments on that. This also plays into Obama's legacy of.
Well, the big news this week was that the intelligence organization coming out and said that Putin actually ordered the attempt to influence the election and to get Trump elected, specifically.
Right.
That was the news this week.
And apparently Russia is laughing from all the way from the other side of the globe. Russia is laughing about the whole thing. Russia's just beside themselves. You guys are a bunch of idiots.
All right. Well, we've been talked about by people who listen to us on Twitter. We talked about this in our Russia episode.
Yeah.
How this works.
That was a good episode, by the way.
Yeah, it's been referenced quite a few times.
Sweet.
And also, there's people, some high-level, news people.
Yeah.
Who have said things that they could only say if they listened to that episode.
No!
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. Well, they may have come to the same conclusion. I'm not saying they definitely listened to us, but it's possible some very, very intelligent, very experienced people out there could have seen what we saw, and which is that Russia, it's Russian intelligence job to find intel on its friends and adversaries. And if that includes hacking, that's what they do. That's their job. And if they don't hack or they don't succeed at hacking into our stuff, they are failures. Now, for our part, it's our job, our government's job, to secure our secrets, our national secrets. All right? And if we don't, and by don't I mean Russian intel is successful in getting our most secure secrets, our most secret stuff, then we have failed, right?
Hannity pointed that out when he was talking to Julian Assange and said, this proves absolutely one clear thing. We have no security.
Yeah, well, that we failed and that Russia beat us when it comes to that. And it's not about, oh, well, what are we at war? What do they got to beat us? We got to beat them. No, it's just that we spy on our friends. Angela Merkel, she had a cell phone.
Yeah, Obama was watching her on her cell phone.
Watching or listening or both.
Yeah.
And that was because we were successfully able to sneak in software or hardware into the phone that she received in order for us to do that. So we won there. And we're not at war with Germany. It's just that it's our job to know what everybody's doing, what everybody's thinking. If our intel can do that, I mean, look at 9/11. It happened. Turns out it was an intelligence failure.
Hey, I just got a heads up from the producer. Obama used an app on Angela Merkel's phone.
Oh, okay.
It was called "Is My Girlfriend Cheating or Not?"
What?
So you download the app on her phone and it's invisible. She can't see it.
Okay.
And you download it on your phone and you can see it.
Are you actually being serious?
That's a flat... No. There is an app out there like that.
I was going to say, because that might work.
Did I just break something open?
That might actually work. Is my girlfriend cheating? So there's an app out there that allows you to spy on people through their phone.
Yeah, but you have to download it to their phone without them knowing it first.
Well, if you have a girlfriend.
Yeah, and she's sleeping.
And you already know her
and Bill Cosby's already left.
Oh! Wow! Score one for Brian. Brian won, Bill Cosby nothing. So anyway, yeah, and of course if you've been dating her for a while, you're gonna know what her little password, not password, but the little character you gotta make, with your thumb or your whatever. Anyway.
My kids know mine.
Yeah, my daughter. No, do you want to hear? You know what my daughter made me do? She said, "Dad, you're allowed to have more than one fingerprint identification."
Oh, I didn't know that. What?
On mine, I have a little pad. This little pad.
Yeah.
If you put your thumb on it.
Oh, that's right. You showed me that, and it won't let me in because it doesn't recognize my thumbprint.
Right. Well, my daughter said, "Let me do my thumbprint." I'm like, "Fine." So she can get. Now, my wife, she can't get in. She has to find my daughter
to lock it up.
Unlock my phone. Just FYI.
Where's my husband been? If you both log in on MapQuest on Google,
okay,
you can actually follow each other on the map via your cell phone.
Freaky.
Too much.
Yeah. Anyway, did I tell you about my my recruiter back when I was 18 years old? My recruiter for the Marine Corps said, "You ever see these cell phones?" This is back in '94. You ever seen that? You seen them brick phones? Those are never going to catch on. Ever. They are never going to catch on. It's not going to happen. I said, "What do you mean? What do you mean?"
He recruited you. Wow. What a salesman.
So he said, "It's never going to catch on." I said, "What?" I said, I believe you. I believe you. You sound like a smart guy. I have no reason to doubt that your prediction that cell phones are never going to catch on is right. But why? Explain why. And he said, because people need to get away. No, humanity, people in general are not going to tolerate being able to be gotten a hold of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You go to the beach and all of a sudden you get a phone call and you're on the other end. You got to answer it.
Dude, it's an obsession. He couldn't see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, it turns out it's just,
inundated with it. So Trump came out and said, Trump had an intelligence briefing. By the way, the left is hammering Trump, claiming he doesn't take the briefing. Kellyanne Conway begged to differ, says he is getting his briefing from the intelligence, the guy he appointed head of intelligence.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he gets the briefing and then briefs Trump.
Okay.
And the left is angry, CNN is angry that Trump doesn't take 3 briefings a day like Obama used to, which is a lie.
There's no way that's true.
They were claiming Obama was he was always briefed.
Yeah, they also said,
and he loved it. He loved it in print.
I got a little bit of feedback there.
He loved it in print because he reads. Trump has to have somebody.
He's illiterate.
Yeah, he has to have somebody tell it to him. Somebody has to tell it to him.
And they have to use short words.
Very, very short
like
words.
3-word sentences.
Over and over again for it to stick. Right. So after the intelligence briefing, Trump came out and said, absolutely no effect of cyber hack on election results.
Yeah, and there have been some media outlets who've reluctantly have had to report that the quote, and I'm definitely putting this in quotes because you don't want to quote me on this, the Russian hacking didn't actually alter the vote tally.
No, not at all.
We already knew this. If you listen to Smyth Radio, we told you that the voting machines are not hooked up to the internet, and that paper ballot voting states like Michigan wouldn't have, I think that's the AC.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't have any way. How do you hack paper?
With a knife?
Yeah. Well, with a knife or something? With a claw?
Oh, like with a knife?
Right.
You guys are so silly.
You guys, I don't know what you mean. Yes.
So here's you want to hear a soundbite? Chris Cuomo, the loser that he is, on CNN, attempts to destroy my girl and yours, America's girl, woman, Kellyanne Conway.
Did Clapper come out in early October and say, we know it was Russia?
And what did President Obama say in
No.
response? He thought,
did he
that's
say?
very
That's the
important.
question.
He told
What's the
Vladimir
answer?
Putin, knock it off.
What's the answer?
What does knock it off mean?
Did
How's
Clapper
that
come
strong?
out in early October and say, we know it's Russia?
But what is it? Finish the sentence. What is it that we know? That Russia is trying to interfere with the election results? Do you really think that Russia wanted
I'll
Donald
ask you a
Trump to be
third
elected
time.
president?
Did
when
Clapper
he's
come out in
tougher than
early
Hillary Clinton?
October and say, we know Russia is behind the hacks, period, full stop?
Behind the hacks of the DNC? Is that
Yes.
what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Well, no, let's complete the whole sentence so our
Can you
viewers
answer
are
it
not
now?
confused
I'll let you complete
somehow.
it the way you want. Is the answer
He
going to
said
come?
that. Well, listen, he said that, and
Yes,
we just
he did.
learned yesterday, according to CNN,
Yes.
a CNN report that I read in the news, that the FBI said the DNC never acceded to the FBI's very simple request to allow the
again-
FBI access.
Again, irrelevant, because
No,
here's what
it's
we're
not.
talking. Here's
then
my
why
question.
did CNN report on it?
My
hey,
question-
Chris, if it's irrelevant, why did CNN
It's
report on
irrelevant
it?
to my question, which is why won't the president-elect acknowledge what is so clear to the intelligence community, that Russia was involved in the hacks? And it seems to
He
be
gets his intelligence briefing today.
he's had so much opportunity to know the answers to this. The people around him have been able to
But
get
you're
the
just
intelligence
trying to-
whenever they
speaking of
wanted.
Speaking of disparagement, I
Yes.
really believe there are those out there that are trying to there are those out there who are trying to delegitimize his presidency, review the election results, and you know it. I mean,
And
the
he's
fact
helping
is,
that
if-
by
if-
refusing to accept the obvious about the
Well,
intelligence
we
community's
had-
conclusions
hey-
about Russia being...
No, he's getting his intelligence briefing today, which was that day, which showed that there was no Russian hacking. He is literally abusing her. If he continues to do these things, they will stop doing interviews on these fake news outlets.
Yeah, I mean, basically they're trying to create this false narrative that Russia hacked the DNC servers and then gave that information to WikiLeaks in order to get Trump elected. We know, based on Julian Assange, 2 different interviews actually with Sean Hannity, where he was asked directly if the source of this material was Russian or any kind of a state. He said it was not a state, as in a government, and it was not Russia. It wasn't Russia.
He said,
at all.
I'm going to break protocol one single time. We do not divulge our
information on our sources.
Right, ever, but I will for this one time only. It was not Russia.
Right, so they're trying to create this false narrative where Russia sent it to Julian Assange, where they would propagate it on WikiLeaks. Nobody. I'll tell you what. This is a rare moment of honesty, where they're not trying to make the lie where there's falsehoods. Now, I know it had been done briefly, where they say that the emails were altered. There was an attempt to make that narrative, and that fell flat on its face. Turns out every single email that WikiLeaks has put out there is 100% true. And actually, Julian Assange bragged about it this week. He put out a tweet saying, we've been verified by all 17 of Obama's intelligence administrations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said,
dude, that's a badge of honor.
Yeah. Oh, he said that. He was like, yeah, I mean, we're really proud of that. But anyway, so the false narrative that this was done, and now they're saying that Putin personally ordered it because he personally likes Trump and he personally didn't want Hillary Clinton to be president. And all of this stuff, I am not buying at all. What I think is what really happened is that Russia hacked into these servers because they could and because they hack into everything because they're supposed to. That's their job. And our job to protect them from hacking into it failed because they are failures and they suck at their job of protecting America. And so what they're doing is they're trying to weave together this false narrative saying, aha, because we know that Russia did successfully hack into it, that clearly the reason why Trump is elected is because the minds of the voters were altered and made to believe that Trump is better than Hillary because of all these emails that came out. They ignore the fact that the emails released actually enhanced the decisions for the voters because it gave them honest facts to make their decision.
Right. You want details on the individual that you're voting for. I mean, it would have been nice if we were everyone in America was allowed to read the book Dreams from My Father.
Well, that was definitely censored and taken out of print, and all the copies that were available for sale across the globe were all bought up by the DNC so that we couldn't see it.
Yeah,
that's actually true. That actually happened.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting that weird stuff is happening.
And I've got one other, where's that at? We've got one other soundbite. Sean Hannity. Here's Sean Hannity on why and how and the details of the hacking of the Russians.
So the Office of the Director of National Intelligence earlier today released a declassified version of its report on election hacking and, of course, Russia intentions. Now, it concludes that Vladimir Putin ordered an effort to try and damage Hillary Clinton, all in an attempt to influence the election. However, now this is key. The report found...
He said the report said that Russia attempted to...
alter the election.
That's what the report is saying. Now, you got to keep in mind, that's false, but that's the report coming to Hannity, and then Hannity exposes that.
And also, real quick, when they use language like hacking the election, they're trying to make a connection. The real connection that they should be trying to make is that they hacked the DNC servers in order to release embarrassing emails by the DNC that would get the voters to be mad at them.
Not the election process.
Right, but when they say hacking the election, they're trying to leapfrog over the logic and say, no. They hacked the election. Like, they started typing on their computer and then Trump had more votes than Hillary.
Right. And
that's
for
total lie.
Well, and for low information voters, they'll believe that. They'll make that leap.
Yeah, you're right.
Found no evidence that actual votes were tampered with, and it did not assess if there was an impact on the outcome of the election. Now, President-elect Trump, he was briefed on the classified version of the report earlier today, and afterwards he put out a statement saying that his meeting with Intel officials was constructive, and he added, quote, there was absolutely no effect on the outcome of the election, including the fact that there was no tampering whatsoever with the voting machines. Now, the president-elect is also saying tonight that, unlike President Obama, he will actually do something to fix this problem by appointing a team to come up with a plan to fight and to stop future cyber attacks. Now, Vice President-elect Mike Pence, he elaborated on this plan. This is earlier tonight. Let's take a look.
President-elect has made it very clear that we're going to take aggressive action in the early days of our new administration to combat cyber attacks and protect the security of the American people from this type of intrusion in the future.
Now, also earlier today, before his briefing, President-elect Trump, he called out Democrats for trying to undermine his presidency by telling the New York Times, quote, China, relatively recently, they hacked over 20 million government names. How come nobody ever talks about that?
Okay, there's one.
This is a political witch hunt. And Mr. Trump, by the way, is highlighting how for the past 8 years, President Obama has all but ignored cybersecurity threats. Quote, with all that being said, I don't want countries to be hacking our country. They've hacked the White House.
There's 2.
Hacked Congress.
There's 3.
We're like the hacking capital of the world. President-elect Trump.
And remember, they hacked the military members. They hacked into the military database and was able to compromise military members' Social Securities and information.
He's absolutely right. And as we told you about this last night, the president, the Democrats, they have been asleep at the wheel when it comes to cybersecurity. Now take a look at the countless major cybersecurity attacks on the federal government that has all happened since 2009 when Obama became president. And there's much more. The Democrats are pumping up this intel report as the smoking gun that proves Russian interference in this election was a big reason why Donald Trump won. But what the left and, of course, the corrupt alt-left liberal media won't tell you about the report and what's in it, it contains evidence about Russia trying to meddle in U.S. elections going all the way back to 2008. And that's not all. NBC News is reporting that the classified version shows that Russian hackers, they targeted the White House, the State Department, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and American companies. So why all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this has been going on the entire Obama presidency, is hacking now such a pressing issue? This once again just proves that the only reason President Obama and the Democrats care now about cybersecurity is because they need an excuse to explain why Hillary Clinton lost. Now, the sore losers, snowflake, left wing, they can whine all they want, but the truth is they can only blame themselves and their gross negligence on cybersecurity for this election hacking.
Well, here's what I'd like to say about that. I feel so vindicated with our show, Russia, 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 because we pointed out all this. So when you talk about hacking the election or trying to influence voters in order to maybe want to vote for the candidate that they hope you vote for, well, we do that to other countries. And it doesn't surprise me to find out from Sean Hannity that the Russians have been doing this for elections long before this election.
And the intel report said they've been doing it since 2008.
Now, here's what is so important. This is critical. If there's nothing else you take away from the show, this is the one thing you should take away. And that is that honesty, if there was any influence on the electorate by this information, the information that they're claiming only exists thanks to the Russians, we were swayed with truth, with honest facts. Had we voted for somebody based on information from a foreign entity that we later found out to be false, I would be absolutely outraged. But that didn't happen. What happened was we got facts.
Yeah, it did in 2008. Yeah, foreign entities. Well, CNN and everybody else made everybody believe that John McCain was a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I didn't vote for McCain or Romney in the primaries. I wanted a different person. I don't even remember.
Oh, correct. I think I was down with Rick Santorum there for a minute.
Oh, I knew who dude, y'all are going to be mad at me. Guess who I voted for in the primaries in 2008?
Chris Christie?
No.
Mitt Romney.
Barack Obama.
What? Oh, you're trying to pull a switcheroo.
Operation Chaos.
Right.
And a lot of you are like, whoa. Operation Chaos was an attempt to vote for Hillary. No. The Ohio primary is in March, which means this was back when Obama was getting his butt handed to him.
Right.
And I wanted Hillary to have a more substantial opposition. And by the way, my vote didn't matter anyway because Hillary won Ohio.
On the Democrat side.
Yeah, Hillary won Ohio, so my vote didn't matter anyway. But what I was trying to do was, it looked like Hillary had a coronation and Obama was dead in the water. It was really early in the primary. I wanted her to have more opposition. Later on, when Rush decided that we needed to have Operation Chaos, it was when Hillary was losing bad, and he said everybody should go out and vote for Hillary in order to make this a fight. So I was part of Operation Chaos before there was an Operation Chaos.
Sweet.
So I'm a trailblazer. If you guys listen to Smyth Radio, you're listening to high-level, intelligent people who are at the cutting edge of societal evolution. When Rush says that, he's talking about us too.
Much of what you see and hear on the following program may be shocking and upsetting to you. But if you will listen calmly and with an open mind, you may discover the key to the peace of
Lawrence
mind
Fishburne,
and joy
man.
for which you've been searching all of your life.
All your life,
I crack up every time I hear that because Brian informed me that that's not Lawrence Fishburne.
No, negative Ghost Rider.
That's hilarious. If you listen to our last episode, we talked about that. I said, wow, where did you get that Lawrence Fishburne audio clip? And it turns out, no, not at all. It's not him at all. So Brian's actually looking up who it is right now.
His last name's Nightingale. I'm trying to think of his first name.
Nightingale. That sounds like a cool name. I'd love to have that name.
Well, listen to his voice.
Yeah.
Dude, only cool people speak like that.
Yeah.
Not like this.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Right. Hey, Dennis Miller.
Yeah.
He said this many, many, many times, and I love his rants and the things he does. He comes out on Bill O'Reilly keeps pimping him out.
Oh, gosh, for like 20 years now.
And Dennis Miller has his own radio show.
Yeah.
Pretty much out of San Diego.
It was syndicated here in Cincinnati, but I don't know if it is anymore. If he talks like that nonstop.
Yeah, this is what he says nonstop. He says, I always wish that Obama would be as nasty and arrogant with our enemies as he is with fellow citizens who simply disagree with him.
Yes. And that sentiment is not the first time I've heard that.
No, yeah. But if you
There's
keep...
been a lot of iterations.
Right, and if you keep saying that, the administration's going to come down on you one way or another.
Yikes.
Twitter.
Kind of like when they ordered YouTube to cut off our... to suspend us.
Yeah, that was painful. So, but Hannity also said in that sound clip, there are multiple government hacks that has plagued Obama's legacy in the last 8 years, and nobody has said a single word about it.
Right, because they're going for a narrative now. And what do you think it really is all about? Is it really just about undermining the upcoming presidency of Trump? Is it just undermining him? Just try to minimize his mandate? Or is there something more going on? I mean, they're pretty much saying that Russia has done something that they've always done, and they're trying to say that this was unprecedented, that they just came out of the woodworks and said, you know what, let's mess with America. Let's mess with them. Let's stick let's poke them in the eye a couple times.
Right.
No, they've been doing this for multiple elections. They've been trying to spy as much as they could. And back when we were in the actual Cold War with Soviet Union, we did a lot better job of winning the war of espionage. And now we're just getting our butts kicked.
I mean, look at what you have. You have 8 years of the most apathetic, pathetic pajama boy, and I mean
snowflakes.
I mean, when you call it, what is the opposite of a lead? I mean, you can't even call him a follower. He doesn't even follow. He doesn't lead. He doesn't follow.
Well, he's a follower. You just got to know who he's following. It's Karl Marx.
Okay.
I mean,
and he's a hell of a follower.
He follows Karl Marx and he follows Muhammad.
Right.
The Muhammad
of Islam.
Right.
Okay. By the way, that voice was Earl Nightingale. From back in the 50s. Just
nothing but black and white pictures of him on
just
Google.
some of his things that he was the precursor to Anthony Robbins.
Really?
Oh yeah, some of the things that he talked about was the miracle of your mind, being a leader, recognizing opportunity, the goose or the eggs, the rewards of service, the strangest secret, which is
interesting.
The strangest secret is you are what you think you are.
So it's the same secret as it's always been.
The power from within. These are all little chapters of things that he would talk about.
Okay.
The greatest salesman in the world type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or more like Think and Grow Rich type stuff.
Yes.
Secret stuff.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that good stuff.
That was the first book written about, quote, the secret.
Yes.
And then everybody's come out with some sort of iteration of it.
And he probably, I'm sure he read that book many, many times, Earl Nightingale. And then, then he had his own radio show there for a minute and did his talk. And I got that soundbite from Roy Masters, who claims he's been on the radio for 55 years.
Is the voice of Earl Nightingale, though?
No. He played that sound clip that I play.
Whose voice is it?
Earl Nightingale.
Oh, that's what I meant.
But Roy Masters is still alive.
Okay.
Earl Nightingale's dead. And he
still sounds like Lawrence Fishburne. Last I heard, Lawrence Fishburne's still alive.
He's still good to go, still alive and kicking. Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm looking for a clip of Lawrence Fishburne now. I want to do a side-by-side.
So, but Earl Nightingale would say things like he would help to motivate salespeople and help them to get in the right frame of mind, positive frame of mind, positive outlooks. It's actually the opposite of Democrats.
Oh my gosh! I just Googled Lawrence Fishburne, and the first video is a video of Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, dude!
Apparently, somebody mistaken Samuel L. Jackson for Lawrence Fishburne, and he likes to tell the story of how he was mistaken.
Maligned.
Well, the thing is there's this trope in the black culture that white people think that all black people look the same. And so that is a very key story that Samuel L. Jackson can tell because it furthers that narrative of racism amongst whites. That's the racism of whites, is that black people all look the same. Anyway,
right.
We talked about that last episode.
Right. No, but Earl Nightingale, he'd say some of his sayings are, your rewards in life will always be in exact proportion to the amount of consideration we give toward others. So it was all about giving of yourself, being of service to other people. I mean, same thing, all in line with Think and Grow Rich, all in line with Anthony Robbins' books that he talks about. And it's unfortunate that these are ideas and theories that are not taught in public school whatsoever.
I just found a video.
Did you find it?
Well, yeah, I found a video of Charlie Rose interviewing Lawrence Fishburne, and this is from a long time ago because Charlie Rose looks
alive?
Way younger.
He looks alive
He
still?
doesn't look like a tree stump.
I said direct from the Walter Kerr Theater, where he continues the role in August Wilson's Two Trains Running, and we are very pleased to have him here.
This is Lawrence Fishburne.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Charlie.
Listen to his question. Whatever. Anyway.
Jeez.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. We've got just a couple of minutes left. I did mention Bill Whittle earlier and some of the things that he says. This is his take, just a real quick couple minutes take on Bill Whittle talking about liberals. Oh.
Is it trying to convince Britain and Germany?
Come on.
Well, President Obama just returned from an overseas visit trying to convince Britain and Germany to sign his trade deal and generally butting into European politics in a way that many had not expected when President Peace Prize descended from heaven to give the world the new, improved, smart diplomacy. Now, the latest international disaster occurred in Great Britain, where the president gave a speech urging the UK to remain in the European Union, despite warnings from many quarters that such intrusion into the idea of the Brexit, that'd be the British exit from the EU, or that would be less than appreciated. President Stupid went and did it anyway, prompting this reporter to ask the following question.
Do you have any sympathy with people who think this is none of your business?
That's from the left-wing BBC, of all people.
He meddled in their election. And we know what he did.
Again.
And here's the stupid part. Like, they blame Russia for getting Trump elected. But if they really did, let's say that Russia could be attributed to the success of Trump getting elected. They're the most brilliant intelligence organization in the history of the human race.
To pull that off, right.
Because they knew that, number one, we aren't going to be able to alter anything. If we're proven, if anything that we do can be shown to be false, that not only will what we're doing not work, but it'll have an opposite effect. And number two, If they find out it's coming from us, which presumably they didn't until now,
right?
They're going to revolt and say, "No way, we're voting for Putin's best
Puppet.
friend."
Yeah, puppet. Yeah,
no way. And meanwhile, you got Obama, who meddled in Brexit publicly and meddled in the Israeli election of Netanyahu publicly. And what does that do? How arrogant do you have to be to think that you could show up and say, "I'm Barack Obama, and when I talk, you guys are going to be so enamored with every word I say. All I have to do is say that I like Netanyahu, and I think you should," or not Netanyahu, but his opponent, "and you should vote for him and not Netanyahu. And by the way, I don't agree with the Brexit. You should vote to stay. And by me saying it because I'm so good and cool and awesome, you guys love me so much that you're going to do what I say." And to be so stupid to think that that's going to work is indicative of the entire legacy of Barack Obama. That's just how stupid he is. Unless he actually wanted Netanyahu to be reelected, but we know based on context that that's not true.
You mean Obama?
Yeah, he could have done a reverse. He could have said, "I actually want Bibi to be reelected, so I'm going to come out and say vote for the other guy because I know that they hate me enough to vote for Netanyahu just as a protest against me."
That might have actually worked better.
It would have worked.
Yeah, better than what he did by paying that.
But we know that he's an anti-Semite. That is a fact. He's anti-Semitic. He hates Israel. He's anti-Zionist. And so, he did not do that to get Bibi reelected.
So what do you think Bill Whittle thinks about Donald Trump? Dude, I'm telling you, Bill Whittle did a video on everything.
Okay, without even knowing anything about what he may or may not think about it, let me tell you this. There are a lot, at least a half dozen to a dozen that I could probably name almost off the top of my head that I agree so wholeheartedly with. I'm like, this guy is a superstar as far as I'm concerned. And they hate Trump.
I know, it made me nervous.
Yeah, like Mark Levin. People listening right now are probably like, "What, Kerry? You're such a sellout." No, Mark Levin is brilliant. And everything that he says, I 100% wholeheartedly agree with. 100%. I regularly repeat passages from Ameritopia on the show and still do 100% agree with all that stuff. But when he starts getting into the anti-Obama stuff, he's a moron.
Yeah, Sam Keels has sentiments against it. He does and Mark Levin's got
Ben. What's his name?
Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. When he starts talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's a superstar.
So listen to this just a short clip of what Bill Whittle thinks of Trump.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Afterburner. I'm Bill Whittle. Well, it's been wisely said that when you're trying to be scrupulously fair to two warring parties, you know you've succeeded when both sides are equally angry with you. Now, I feel called by my love of America, the conservative principles upon which it's based, and my own personal sense of honor and integrity.
Carrie's getting nervous.
I'm wincing right now. I'm wincing.
To wade into this war between Donald Trump supporters and Donald Trump critics as calmly and reasonably as I can so that we can go back to being friends. And hopefully to lessen the appalling and destructive vitriol I've seen on both sides in these heated days. This friendly fire is turning lifelong friends into vicious enemies, and it simply has to stop, and it has to stop now. Now, as I said, hopefully this will make everybody equally angry, so I'm simply asking you, out of whatever respect you may have for me, to listen to this through until the end.
We're not going to,
because this Afterburner is an appeal to principle. So let's start with the foundational principle. I am not nearly arrogant enough or stupid enough to try to get any of you to change your vote one way or another. In my mind, the American people form the single greatest repository of intelligence and common sense on the face of the earth.
And that's all. That's it. Yeah.
Well, and by the way, this was June?
Yeah, this was
January 28th. So this is almost exactly a year ago.
Right. Yeah, 6 months into it. We were 6 months into Trump announcing
his candidacy. So this was a year ago, and there was a lot. So the primaries were raging on and all that kind of stuff. So what did he end up saying? Was he for Trump or against Trump?
He was definitely for Trump.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he started talking about principles, it sounds like Cruise Crew people.
It was actually there's another clip that he does, and he starts out with this. We have a candidate who's arrogant and self-aggrandizing and shoots his mouth off and blah blah. And so
started cringing.
Yeah. And so enough about Obama. Let's talk about Donald Trump.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's true. Yeah.
I'll have to find that one for next
I've
week.
been a Trump supporter from day one. I didn't think he was going to win it way long time ago. And the first time I thought that we were going to see the end of him was in the first debate, because when he did come off, my interpretation of it was very angry. He had a very angry delivery. And I said, well, this is not going to fly.
I loved it when he literally shamed Bush, Jeb. Literally shaming Jeb.
Was that the first one that he shamed?
I'm not sure
him?
if it was the first one.
But he was very angry. And I thought the American people are just, they've never been cool with this.
Ironically, it resonated.
Well, it turned out.
Because America.
They're angry, yeah. And by the way, I did not disagree with or didn't dislike his performance. I just thought that America was not going to go for that. And it turns out I was wrong about that. I thought he personally won. I just didn't think that the American people were going to think he won.
Well, and if you look at Frank, I'm a loser, Luntz.
Yeah.
This is it for him. It's all over with. And then election day, Frank, I'm a loser, Luntz says, mark my words, if I wasn't clear enough, Hillary will be president.
He said that on election day?
On Twitter.
Oh, and what a moron.
I've screen captured that, and I send it to him quite frequently.
Like every once in a while?
Yeah.
Just to remind him how much of a loser he is.
And then one comment that was pretty mean to him, he clicked like he liked.
I was wondering why he did that, because I thought it was kind of mean to him too. So anyway.
So this is why the left loses, is because when they lose and when they see that we are winning and America is going to be made better, they say things like this.
If you support Trump now, if you support Trump today, you are 100% deplorable. 100% of Trump supporters right now at this very moment are deplorable. But at this point, it goes far beyond whether you're establishment or anti-establishment. If you're supporting a candidate who openly speaks the way Donald Trump does about women, you're deplorable. You are a piece of shit in my eyes.
It's more the Young Turks. It's more the Young Turks. It's old girl from the Young Turks.
Here's the thing. If you're still thinking that he's a misogynist or whatever because of something he may have said, you need to look at the bigger picture. There is no way, if you look at the big picture of Trump and everybody that surrounds him, that he disrespects women. I'll bet you he has more respect for women in his life than most people with women in their life.
Look at his daughter. Just his daughter alone. If he had disrespect for women, his daughter would not.
She'd be a porn star.
Yes!
Because that's what happens to women who are, or I should say, girls who grow up in a household of misogyny and abuse and all that kind of stuff. They don't turn out well.
No. They find guys like Hugh Hefner to marry at
there you
19.
Go. They get their boob jobs done and all. And you know, that's just didn't happen with his daughter.
And I don't know if she's ever had any kind of surgery or elective surgery at all.
We met her,
but she
didn't look like.
She looked like an average person. She was
natural.
She was gorgeous, but she just looked like a regular person.
You made mention that you thought she looked kind of skinny, but
very thin.
I thought it just looked fine, but I like them a little skinny.
I know. I was like, I almost offered her a Big Mac. I'm like, hey, maybe you need a little.
She's just tall. That's all it is. She's very tall, actually. She may have been wearing heels, though.
The wind was blowing that day. I swear somebody needed to catch her. She's going to fly away.
Anchor her down.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway.
No, good times, folks. So follow us around on Facebook.com/Smyth Radio. Follow us on Twitter @Smyth Radio. Our YouTube channel is doing excellent now that I don't post any other videos other than our show.
Oh, you mean we haven't been shut down yet?
Don't get outside the lines. Color in the lines.
Brian is not raised that way. Well, he was raised to color within the lines, but he
had to rebel.
Less. He always rebelled. Yeah,
fight back.
Yeah,
fight the man. Fight the system.
Are you saying that YouTube did a better job of raising you?
Because now I'm coloring in the lines.
You have to.
God bless YouTube. Jeez.
Oh my goodness, the heavy hand of the law.
Yeah. So if you like the show, share it with your friends, share it with your family, like it on Facebook, like it on YouTube, like it on Twitter.
And also go ahead and put in your notifications on your calendar to listen to us every week. That would be, yeah.
Every Sunday.
Give you a little notification. Hey, watch Smyth Radio. It's coming on 5 o'clock Eastern time every single Sunday.
You can message us live during the show or even call in. But that would be about it.
We need to get a clip of awesome sauce.
Find that, add that in there.
Oh, my goodness.
Have a good week, folks.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without